Obviously, we saw Haven last week between two different teams, but we can build on that. See some initial opinions on Haven. What's your initial thoughts on these maps and the picks by both of these
I'm
sides?
instantly excited to see that Breeze come out. A lot of teams like banning it at the moment, so I haven't seen a lot of it in the university scene. So I'm excited to see how this Breeze goes down. Again, it's a very different map to a lot of the ones we saw last week. I think we saw Ascent Haven last week, didn't we, with the 2-0, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And although Ascent's, I think Ascent and Breeze are interesting maps to play in terms of like there's some very long sight lines, especially towards that middle area on Ascent and towards A on Breeze. There can be some plays made, but this Haven is going to be a good indicator, I think, for how the match is going to start off, because this is the game one of your best of three. We haven't seen that many 2-1s so far if you look through the best of threes, so it does look as though as if most of the teams are, if they lose that first map, they're kind of struggling to come back from that, or they're just completely outclassed. Now, if that's still going to be the case in this matchup, remains to be seen, as I always say. But it does look so far as a lot of teams lose that sort of that mental ability to keep going. Again, Haven, a map that we've seen before get very, very close between UCL and Cardiff, and I believe Cardiff, I think, was that the one where they got to OT? It was a very close matchup, and then to lose it there at the last second again. If that happens to a team, it really can be a tough one to push into that second map. So Haven's going to be a good indicator, I think, at this level for who takes this matchup.
Indeed, and it's obviously PSC's map pick. You normally favour your map pick if you're the ones picking it, so you definitely got to be looking at them. A rough start on Haven for them could set some initial worries in their team, and it's getting past that mental block. Losing a few rounds, especially when you've decided the map you want to play on first, and obviously it's got to be one of your comfort picks if you're picking it at this stage in the tournament. Losing a few rounds at the start can really add some worries into these teams. So have you got any ways that they could maybe get over it? Is it just a momentum swing thing? Are you looking for that one round just to set you up, or does it come down to a tactical thing?
I think at this level, a lot of it does come down to the mental sort of game, and that sort of just like someone making a play that can turn that game around or resetting that mental. People are really good at taking timeouts, to be fair. We saw, I think, both or almost all the timeouts available used last week, which is nice to see because that allows you to reset, get back in the game, and it can prove very, very effective. So as long as the teams keep on the straight and narrow with their thoughts, plans, and processes, I'm confident that either of them could take this game. But as we talked about in our predictions, I'm rooting for LJMU here. I think they have got a strong chance at making it to those grand finals all the way through. Whereas, PSZ, they've shown some strong plays. Taking them out Birmingham Bulls is a very, very strong chance. Pretty happy with that from them. But whether they have enough to topple LJMU, I'm just not sure.
Indeed. I mean, I didn't even get to say my prediction, Hanno. That's the worst bit.
You didn't?
I know. I nearly got away with it. I thought about it. I was like, do I leave Hanno hanging and wait and see I can maybe play it after the second game? But no, I'm going to commit. We're going to do it again. You go for LJMU. I'll go for PSC. My channel point prediction may differ a little bit, but on the cast, we'll go with PSC. So hopefully I've cast a curse and then Hanno loses all his channel points as well, which will be quite funny.
Oh no.
I'll lose all of mine as well, so it's not the end of the world. But I want to be right on the broadcast. The channel points, you can keep them to the side, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, no matter what happens, you win here. You've got to, if you win, if LJMU wins, you get your channel points, and if PSG win, then you get your prediction right. So really, you put yourself in a nice situation there, Walker. Don't think I haven't noticed that.
hey, look, dude. I'm gonna hold the hands up. I'm gonna admit I've gamed the system, and that's the way we're gonna play this one. And hopefully, one of these two teams can game it and reach that final that I think the dream is for now. You've got so far in this tournament. You really do just want to get past that final hurdle, especially on a losers bracket run. If PSG are able to do it, they went out. Not PSG. If LJMU are able to do it, that's a full lower bracket run they've done. That's a storyline and a narrative that you can really build on. And I'm sure they're going to play into that and absolutely love every minute of it.
That's the rematch that I do want to see. I think is LJMU Birmingham Bulls in a best of three, because unfortunately of time constraints of the tournament, that first week is best of one, or best of one followed by best of three. So that first round against Birmingham, 13-7 to Birmingham, they may have not had the opportunity to show their full range of maps, their full skill set. So I'm excited to see if either Birmingham Bulls drop down into the lower bracket final next week, or if LJMU can elevate themselves by progressing through this game and the next to the grand final for that rematch to happen. It may not, but if it does, that would be a banger series to see.
It really would. And now I believe we are ready for some
Ooh.
agent picks, and I think we're going to get into that right away.
Well, we have got Haven up first, so we can probably have a little think as well about what those agents are going to be. I think we talked a little bit about it last week, didn't we? We were expecting potentially double control to come out. We didn't see it last week, but maybe we'll see it now.
I mean, yeah, you're completely right. Looking at these initial hovers, the ideas, similar comps for the most part, some slight differences. Obviously, a big talking point that's going around at the moment is the potential chamber changes that are coming through. Obviously, not going to be impacting these teams. Chamber in a very strong position, so no surprises from either of these sides. One player I do want to highlight, though, for the side of PSZ is Luki. Fun fact about them, obviously, we found this out before, but this guy used to play Fortnite competitively. Now, if they're playing Fade, I expect them to be absolutely cranking out those Fade dogs, those slugs, just to get info. I want to see flick after flick with them, clearing every single angle, cranking 90s on the Fade. But an initial lock-in coming straight through from LJMU. You want to go over that for me, Hanno?
Well, straight away we've got that Omen locked in. Very, very strong, obviously, controller here on Haven with very, very long-lasting smokes that you can, essentially smoke from anywhere across the map. Very, very powerful. Only problem with that, of course, is it's hard to be reactionary with those smokes. It takes a while to put them down when you need to. So on the defense, it's a little bit weaker than some of the controllers, in my opinion. But you do have still a lot of other useful utility that some other controllers lack, with your blind as well as those teleports that can be so deadly. But we've seen both teams lock in there, so both of them having that Haven. Only one Breach out. Now, Haven is a map that Breach mains love. All of the sites are very accessible for that Rolling Thunder. And we saw it pulled off to great effect last week. So we're going to see that Breach come out for PSZ, I believe. Now, as well to mention, double chamber, absolute classic. I mean, barely even need to mention, to be fair. It's pretty much always occurring. And then we do see that Reyna Fade, sort of 1-for-1 there. LJMU opting for the Reyna, PSZ opting for the Fade. And the last one's, of course, the Jet and the Sky. LJMU, in my opinion, has gone a little bit more for this sort of a slightly, well, I would say maybe slightly defender-sided in the fact they've got a lot of utility on them. They've also got the strong power picks of Reyna and Chamber, whereas PSZ have got a lot more availability on this attack with the Jet and the Breach for entering, as with the Fade as well. The combo looks really strong for their attack when they do swap over.
Yeah, but they aren't going to be starting on that. It's going to be LJMU on the attack first, and going to put a lot of pressure down onto A here with Crazy on that Chamber. He does manage to connect one bullet onto the Jet, so that's going to force that Jet play alone. That's the first pick of this game. Dark Aura connecting with a lovely headshot onto MC. And now this is B-side pretty much opened up for the side of LJMU. They're going to get on straight away. Inklo waiting in this smoke, trying to wait for opportunity to arise, but sight is claimed. The plant goes down for LJMU, and now it's just a time game. Brother finding one now. Dark Aura finding another, and this is so quick, these trades. It's just going to be Luki alive. 3 versus 1. He sees Crazy, but gets tanked up and very low. Dark Aura is free. And that's LJMU taking round 1.
It was quick, it was swift, and it is victory for LJMU with an early lead of 1-0. They're losing just 2 players there as well. Means they do hold on to a little bit of those shields. Obviously, do have to rebuy all of it. But that attack came in rather fast, I must say. They had that B site. We'd barely finished getting into talking about the agent pick. Suddenly, they're on site. Dark Aura's found 3 kills, and well, that's pretty much round over. If you've got B and it's sort of a 2v4 retake, not much fun. Looks like we're going to have a small pause coming on, or hopefully small pause, but a little pause coming on here. There is a broken mouse, I believe, on one of the teams. Don't know how they managed to do that in 1 round, Walker. That's got to be a story to say.
I mean, I think it's going to be Luki. He was cranking those 90s a little bit too hard. Really getting back into the Fortnite gaming. I think that's probably the most likely casualty of the mouse, clicking a bit too fast. But yeah, That's an odd one. We don't normally see broken mouses. Normally it's like a bit of an internet connection. Oh, no, I believe it's MC. Ping has gone missing, so not a broken mouse. Not Lukey with it, but it's the breach, actually. Going to be taking a brief pause.
Oh. Well,
so,
hopefully. Yeah.
We've had confirmation. There is actually a broken mouse. This is
not Makush.
It's a very strange interaction. Yeah, so it's Inklo with the broken mouse, in fact. But Makush also DCing. So pretty good timing, I guess, for the DC to come through. If Inklo's somehow broken their mouse. Not entirely sure.
Perhaps they've DC'd to go to the practice range and, you know...
Stay warm.
No. They've like closed Valorant. They've loaded up an aim trainer and they're, you know, frantically clicking, and they're like, oh, we can't lost round one. Gotta try hard more.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, we can get that fixed and get MC back in the game relatively soon. But maybe we could talk a little bit more about picks. I mean, what are your thoughts when you look at the fact that, for example, LJMU doesn't have that breach? I think it's a very strong pick on towards Haven. Do you think they're still going to have... I mean, they showed it last round. They were easy getting onto site. But will that continue, especially into a lot of the buys?
It ultimately comes down to the playstyle. You know, that first initial pistol round all came down to that one pick from Dark Yora. That opens up B site completely for them, and they're just able to take it. And that pick onto the breach especially just gave no retake potential, no entry with the stuns, with the flashes. It's very difficult for the side of PSC to get back onto site. So the breach is definitely a strong pick, but you need to make sure that you're at least alive for these retake scenarios, and Makush really has to play it smart and almost think 2 steps ahead at all times on the breach.
Yeah, I think it very much depends on the skill level of your breach player to recognise when the utility is needed, and also when to not flash teammates, because that's happened to me many a time. I'm sure it's happened to you many a time, where you've got a breach in your team and thinking, oh great, think of all that utility, and then you run onto a site, you get stunned, you get flashed by your own breach. Frankly, it's the worst thing in the world.
It's the silence that follows as well after it happens, because they never say a word after they do it, because they know deep down that they flashed the entire team, but they never want to say that they did. They're gonna play it off every time. It was the enemy breach on 4 maps ago, but we are getting in. Game underway. Connections are back. And this is a very aggressive push from Inklo. I really like this. Taking space early, landing that initial headshot, and getting the Sova incredibly low. They are going to make some space on to C site. JMU trying to get some presence, but incredibly low. It's going to get killed up by the Sky, and they are looking to slow it down and transfer away from C.
I think this is the correct call from LJMU. They don't want to be running into a stack if they're aware that it could be there, especially with the fact that they saw the jet dash up towards the middle. That gives them a little bit of an indication of where these players for the side of PSG are leaning, and with a pick on towards C, they're now going to start running right on into it. There are 3 players here, though. This could be terrible.
They do land one, though. Makush is going to find Spark Pig, but Dark Yora cleaning up once again, and it's just going to be Inklo alive. 4 versus 1. So they did get at least 1 kill. PSC, but just not enough, and it's all down to Inklo with this frenzy. He did land some nice shots onto Spark Pig in the initial process, but he's got a lot to do if he wants to get his team this pistol round.
The round looked good for them, especially with that early damage from Inklo. Maybe if that had turned into a kill, LJMU could have forced PSG to rush on in towards C or something, but yeah, they found that initial pick, they rushed onto C, and then with 3 players there, unfortunately, PSG only able to find 1 kill. So although it looked pretty good for them, obviously the fights just weren't there. The duels didn't go their way, and they didn't get as much economic damage as they probably would have liked. Inklo going to die here to maintain that economy for their side.
Yeah, gonna die, but not give the kill to LJMU as well, which is the really smart play. Don't want to give that extra economy boost to them, especially when so many of them lost. 2 Vandals bought in that round by Dark Yora and Kernzy, so only losing one of the Spectres, which is definitely a bonus for LJMU. They have a lot more opportunity on this next round to keep it level. Having 2 Vandals on your side into this 4-buy round and the Marshal as well, and that Spectre is so important. Just keeping any guns that are a little bit better than what you maybe could if you went for just a full SMG round, but really smart from them. It's going to be very interesting on this attack.
Keen to get Dark Yora onto these entries running straight on towards that A. It is pushed off a little bit by the opposing breach, and Luki has found some information. Will be letting his team know that they are up towards long, and they're taking this very quickly towards A.
And I'm loving this aggression. Luki's going to find 2, though. A nice pick from Crazy at the start onto Inklo. But it is some very nice picks. And Luki almost flipping the momentum. They were looking to take long control so quickly. Finding 2, gets flashed. Can't connect that last shot. But he flashes his own team. It's not the Breach doing the team flash. It's the Sky, in fact. Here, Hano. And Britta is going to connect onto MC as well. Luki goes down. Just one more. 2 versus 2. And a lot of damage onto that chamber. But can LJMU close it up? They're looking to rotate away, though.
There's no one as well from BSZ playing close enough to B to hear that rotate coming on out. They should be able to, if LGMU doesn't clear any more of these angles too slowly, able to make it to that C site, get the spike down. And Yokai and Infancy completely unaware. Unfortunately, they had to leave the site there, all the contact going on and the smokes coming down. And although they're aware that these players could have rotated, they have to wait to hit this plant before they really do anything here. With that, they'll start making their moves. Kernsey and this chamber here for LJMU are starting to set up in towards these arse plants. Chamber going to be clearing out long and playing for that spike when they do go for the defuse. Kernsey going for a little bit of an early contact here. Might catch the back of the chamber.
He might indeed. Kernsey slowly walking up here on the flank. Can he connect? He sees Yokai. Does he find Infancy? And it's going to be Yokai connecting onto Crazy. Does find Infancy now. Just Kernsey and Yokai in a 1 versus 1. If LJMU can flip this, is one hell of a round for them, but it is going to be Kernsey connecting, and it is going to be LJMU getting this round where it seemed much more difficult for them in terms of economy.
Well, you see Luki at the start there, finding 2 quick kills. The team flash coming out from Kernsey as well, from that Sky on towards their long player. It looked pretty dire, but somehow they turn it around. They turn it into that 2v2. And they played it quite well. Kernsey on the wraparound got a little bit nervous about the Infancy being on that spike defuse still. But they made it work. Walker, they made it work. They're 3-0 up right now. And this round is surely to be theirs. Right? They've got a huge economic advantage here. Pushing out middle of PSZ. Finds 1, finds 2!
Infancy with some lovely picks there. That's really going to help them in this round where it's so difficult. Infancy with a 3rd spark pick, barely able to see what's happening in his own screen. And we are slowly seeing it down, but that's some really nice picks for them here. Crazy gets tanked up as well as spark pick. It's only going to be Makush going to get caught as well for PSC. So they really have advantage when economically they were sort of struggling, to say the least.
Both players for LGMU here are quite low, half HP or less. Spark PLG only just below that 50. Yokai has the Headhunter, and the other 2 players for PSC don't have much more than that. They haven't been able to recover the guns as of yet. Sheriff's in hand for both of them. Winnable situation for both teams. Oh, Crazy walks straight into Emphasy's bullet. 1 more for Infancy, makes it the ace. What is that? LGMU get shut down by just 1 player.
Every single kill he gets was a headshot. Infancy pulling his team out from such difficulties. That gives them such a momentum flip. You look at the economy on the side of LJMU. You know, Light Shield's forced onto Dark Iora. No money on this next round potentially for Spark PLG as well. That's really broken the economy so much in this one, and that's such a big round from Infancy. And that gives them a lot of opportunity with the ultimates as well.
Yeah, that is a crazy play from them though. To lose the rifle round in in that 2v2 situation at the end there is unfortunate against the weaker buy from LJMU. And then to come out next round and just Sheriff Eco ace it, like, that is an incredible performance from that Omen. And also, not necessarily the player that you're looking to make that kind of play. On the Omen of all things, there is so many other agents that are much more suitable for that situation. We had the Headhunter out there as well, but no. Infancy pulls it out the bag. And that's PSZ's first round. Hopefully not all of their rounds require that level of effort to secure the wins. Infancy goes in again, dropped straight away.
Yeah, it goes down straight away, and now it's a 2 versus 4 scenario for LJMU in their favour. They just got some lovely picks to set them up. Dark Euro with that initial one just gets some control, almost baits that initial B push, and then that unfortunate clear from Infancy just didn't clear the right corner. He chose to clear window instead of close to the wall, and now it puts his team in a very difficult situation. They do have the Fade ultimate as well if they want to invest it, but Dark Yura with a lovely shot takes Aluki's head clean off, and now just Yokai does find one, finds two, and he slows it down. But he has no info on these last two players. We see them backing off towards long. He sees the Sova, but that's going to be Spark PLG cleaning it up, and LJMU, they take this 4th round.
There was a glimmer of hope there. A glimmer of hope from the Sova there. Almost performing a miracle, but only halfway through it. You know, and if you could only half walk on water, is that a miracle? I don't think so. I don't even know what that would look like, really, Walker. Actually. But anyway, a strong performance again from LJMU. They're starting off this map quick and clean so far, just losing that 1 round, which I think we can forgive them for losing to that lovely play from Emphasis. So 4-1 to them right now, not looking too shabby. And also on the attack, the side that we always say we favour here in Haven, but it's nice to see him off to a strong start. PSE, they have brought out this Opera though to try and counter some of this aggression. And let's see how that works out. And that is going to be on the jet towards B. And unfortunately for them, no one's looking like they're going to fight them just yet.
Yeah, they're playing this so slowly now, LJMU.
Yeah.
They played so quickly in the previous 5 rounds, and now just taking their time, using utility smart as well. Look, clearing all the way up here and nearly catching Yokai on long. Doesn't manage to find the info that they were looking for, so they just back off and play it smart. They're waiting for contact, waiting for the aggression. It's going to be Brother taking short control. Almost staring at Lukey, but backing off. It's crazy. Does Infancy swing?
Ooh. Oh, Yokai didn't fire, but has the information that they're leaving A. Should be calling, surely, to the Fade and to the Jet right now, that they need to rotate as the Execute comes to C.
Yeah, Execute comes through. So many ultimates going to be utilised here. They are managing to stay alive just, but that's going to be Spark PLG connecting onto MC. And now Darko going to pop that ultimate, but it's Kernsey connecting. And that's going to be a 3 versus 5 for PSD. And this is their map pick. This is the one that they need to be looking comfortable on. It is a attacker-sided map, but they are into trouble a little bit. But Yokai with a lovely shot. Lukey gonna find some info onto Brother, but the slug not connecting. But Brother finds that one. 4 versus 2 now. And they just are running out of time slowly but surely here, PSG.
Yokai's been spotted. Blinded as well. PSG's not catching a break right now. Kernsey swinging from long as well. Yokai has found the flank. 1v1 left. How's he found 3 in this scenario? Holding on down. The swing comes out but whiffs the shot, and Kernsey will take it. LJMU secure a 5th. And despite the best efforts from PSG's chamber, they cannot get a 2nd round.
Yeah, now they're in that very difficult scenario where they invested so much into it. You know, Operator bought, Chamber utilizing the ultimate as well. This buy round is very, very clunky. We're seeing, you know, a lot of light shields, Guardians, Sheriff coming out. It's very difficult for them. They have to really assess this next round and what they can do with it.
They have got a few ultimates to help them out here. I think the main thing they're going to be focusing on is using that Rolling Thunder effectively, because Brother with an early pick, that's not ideal. Out goes the Chamber. There's no defense left on towards this A site, and Walker, this is another one for LJMU, surely. Having to come in on a retake. There's a flank from middle coming up as well. Dark Yura's behind them all. Might be getting flanked by a Jet themselves, so not aware of where Inkilo is. And there is a chance at this retake.
But he was aware. That's the worst part. They saw it on the Chamber trip as well. Clearly knew that someone was on the flank. He just didn't know if they were pushing. They are going to use that Rolling Thunder to get onto site. Empathy now with 2. Lovely pick as well. And they're cleaning it up. And that initial pick looked like the engagement tool for LJMU, but the retake is so clean from PSC.
Oh, that Reyna dying in middle is unfortunate for the side of LJMU. Inkilo managed to root out that lurk player who I think had taken contact as well towards that B site earlier, but rooting out that Reyna, denying the flank coming in as the retake was prepared, and then that was perfect. Did you see how Enfancy landed those shots, especially onto the player playing under Heaven? You could barely even see their head, just one tap with the Phantom and they are gone. So beautiful retake from the side of the defense. And we want to see that a bit more, I think. LJMU's been really good at getting these sites. So far, the retakes have been good, but they've not quite been able to get over that final hurdle, that last player. And they finally do it in a convincing fashion there in round number 7. With hopefully more to come. Crazy Schreider does spot and get a little bit of info towards long, but the actual info that they've got is where this operator is. LGMU, what are they going to do with this information that they know exactly where Elo is playing?
Well, they know where he's playing, and they're certainly not opting to swing it just yet. They do initially lose one, though, LGMU. Akira is going to be the one to go down, so not having your Reyna, that traditional entry as such, does put them in a little bit of disadvantage, especially on the buy round that they're on. A lot of them opting for Sheriffs, a couple of Marshals as well. So a very difficult one. This is where the money started to dry up for them. Not being able to build that large amount of momentum, trading a couple rounds and then losing one and then getting 2 more and then losing one. It's finally burnt out their money when they've invested so heavily and lost so many in those rounds. It's finally caught up with them. They really just need to find something. And this initial stun from Makush could find them some success as they line up and he finds 2.
Just 2 left on the side. Makush is finding a 3rd, looking for a 4th. Surely it's all over for LJMU here as Enfancy takes the last one, and PSE pulling off a little bit of a comeback here. They were down pretty heavily early on in this half, but they've shown us a couple of really clean rounds, and LJMU put on a little bit of the back foot for now. Their fast-paced aggression has been shut down a couple of times, and now even when they're going slow, they're being picked off mid-round, and they can't find an access point anywhere on the map. Now that they know that Inkilo is playing towards long with this operator, or was last round, surely they're going to be careful about how they go into these takes. Now, they know the operator's in play, they know it's out there, they know it's dangerous. Will they use their utility properly to try and shut this down? 3 players towards C for PSG, though. That is...
Oh yeah, they tried to use that utility so well, but it was actually Inklo using that cloud burst to actually block the Sova dart that came through where it's been landing so often, and just getting that initial bit of info that they weren't able to get this time has set them up and put them on the back foot, as that's going to be loosely connected onto Kenzie. Yokai this nice off angle though, but forced away.
Bit of contact here, the drone will be deployed, and out goes Spark PLG, instantly dropped by this operator on site. LJMU really struggling to break through this defensive line at the moment. Inkilo finds a 3rd, looking for the 4th, dashing away, and lives! Crazy Shrine can't find him. And with 87 HP, blinded, Shorty going on in, Crazy Shrine gets 1, gets a 2nd, they can't throw this now, 1v2, the fade, super low, has used most of their utility as well. Crazy Shrine has enough utility here as well to make something of this with the teleports and the spike in hand. PSC might have just thrown the round.
They really might have. That is lovely from Crazy Shrine, tipping that momentum so much. Not quite in his favour, but allowing this rotate. They're completely clueless here. They really think he's going to push it. They are going to have to invest that Omen ultimate just to see if he's gone to mid. Now they still think he's on A, and he's just going to get the plant down and get C control, which is so big for him, as well as that money boost as well. Getting those credits in is so important, and now the rotate has to come through with 30 HP on Lukey as well. You almost want to favour Stride here.
I can see a situation where it would have worked out, but not today, as Lukey does drop that player. But I think PSC is still going to be unhappy with that round. I believe it was a 4v1 towards the latter end of that A take. To lose 2 players just to kill that one and then let them have the spike plant as well, economically unfavourable. But they do at least get the win. They get the round on the board, which as a defender, that is all you're looking for at this point. You want to try and maximise your rounds on the defence. Makes your attack even easier.
It really does, and I believe that is the first caster curse of our series today. I think I'm so sorry, Stride. I had hope for you, but I spoke it into existence. I'm deeply sorry, but yeah, it's really impressive. You know, picking up these rounds. You know, we mentioned it. They were, 1 to 5 on the defense, which although it's a very attacking-sided map, Haven, you still want to get, I'd say, at least 4, and they've at least achieved that as a minimum. So any extra ones is definitely appreciated for them, as Inklo is going to be standing confidently as this drone just stares him down on this C site, and I think that's going to be the initiation for LGMU coming straight through.
They're trying to run through, but the knives are being thrown blind into the smoke, and it finds one. Inkilo has 4 currently in their possession and op in their back pocket if they need it. 3 knives left. They've got to find something, and they can't. LGMU out on top, 3 on 2. Yokai coming through Garrow.
And Yokai going to go down straight away. Spark PLG with a lovely shot. And now it's just on Lukey. Not got too much in the tank. He has got all of his util though. But numbers definitely not in his favour. Darkura continues to swing it as Lukey connects. And now a 2 versus 1. No information on either of these 2 players. Probably going to find them down long as he sees that Sova Dart initially come through from the right hand side. But dodges it slightly. Keeps doing the dodge. And I don't think they know how close he is to getting that defuse, but he is going to go down. That's going to be Brother connecting, and that's going to be LGMU getting to 6.
I got a little bit scared there when neither of them swung once he got towards half, but that dart was going to spot him, and it was very unlikely that he would have got through. And obviously, I suppose they were relying on that spike noise as well. Obviously, when you start defusing and it's already halfway, it makes like a slightly different noise, and they can play off that once they know that they're not on the spike. But they're really relying on that dart connecting, so they've got a lot of faith in Spark PLG's lineups there. But LGMU, they do make it to 6. They can no longer be put in a situation where they lose their attacking half, which is probably a bit of a relief, especially for a map like him. The flash comes in, but Inkilo correctly dodges it, and that's a free kill.
That's beautiful from Inkilo, and as well, that's the spike, so it forces that initial rotate. If he was feeling a bit confident, maybe he could have stayed and swung it again, but he's just going to give the position. But that initial pick is so big, especially onto your Sky. You know, no traditional flashes to get you onto site, get you some info, as Crazy is going to find that pick onto Inkilo. So one of the operators is at least down. Emphasis going to get caught by the dart as well, and I think that's going to be the hint of a rotate that they were looking for. Just playing for contact here, LJMU, so much. Just giving that little sniff, giving them a taste of what they could potentially do, and then rotating away and backing off so smartly.
The calm before the storm. The smokes go out from the Omen towards A. That's what I'm talking about with that controller. Has so much range with those smokes. They can drop that, I can't remember what it's called, is it dark cover towards that Heaven A area. And with the Breach hearing that, they might be worrying that it's going to be an A hit. But the actual target of this attack is going to be C. There's 2 players here ready to defend it. Emphasis aware of behind. And in the execute comes. There's one down.
It is a trade though, and it's going to be that next pick from Dark Aura. There is a 3 versus 2, as that Rolling Thunder is going to be used. He does connect Yokai though, and he goes down to Shride from long, and that's going to be 7 on the board for LJMU. Shride cleaning it up for his side.
Did you see Dark Aura's movement there? Like, actually managed to dodge just out of range of the Rolling Thunder, and then before it's even completed, swing back in through it to take out that Breach that was pushing straight onto site, trying to take advantage of the gap made by that ultimate ability. So almost a completely wasted ultimate there. Finds just 1 kill for it and then lose the round because of it. With the last round coming on in as well, maybe you wanted to save that for, just to make sure you can get around in the following one. 7-4 right now, the scoreline. LJMU looking pretty hot so far. We have seen another operator come out on the side of PSC. That's now on Chamber, though, towards long, rather than Inkilo, who's been relegated to the Bulldog, despite some pretty impressive op shots.
Yeah, some pretty impressive op shots, and actually some pretty impressive Bulldog shots. Did manage to get the Chamber very low, but that's a lovely kill from Bud, and that's going to claim that operator for his side as well if they really want to pick it up. And this A execute comes straight through, and it's only going to be Inkilo on that initial rotate. They're going to scout him out straight away, and the Bulldog really not helping him here. Plant's going to come through for free for LJMU. They can play this so smartly. They've got the Solver ultimate as well. They've obviously got the Rainers as well. They can just play this so smartly. Fade is going to utilize theirs though. Luki going to use that, and they are going to get some initial contact but it's going to be Brudder finding 3. Does go down finally, though. It's just going to be a 2 versus 3. Swings it crazily, though. Crazy going to connect. Embassy on the flank. He has no info whatsoever. Does
flicking desperately.
One enemy remaining.
Finds another, and he has to go for it now, but he knows the Sober ultimate was going to come through. It's so well played there from Spark PLG just to stay alive, confirm that the fuse can't go through, but it is going to be LJMU taking that next round as we head into the half with an 8-4 advantage.
It's a strong one. It's a strong attacking side from LJMU. They've got to be happy with that. We did talk a little bit about how, well, it's a very nice... I think I mentioned this a lot. I liked his defensive capabilities, but I honestly very much respected how they used that on their offense as well, with that Reyna adding some, frankly, beautiful entries. The flashes from Guernsey, there was a couple of team flashes in there, but Bruder, I think, was the star on that controller. It's pretty impressive when a controller player steps up, and Bruder certainly did. There were about 3 or 4 rounds that were almost completely won off the entry coming out from Bruder, developing into a site take. So definitely want to point out that player here, and hopefully they can continue that here on the defense to deliver their team a win. Otherwise, it's interesting to see how they use the rest of their comp for this defense. Omen Smokes have come out early from the attack, but there's no one towards long at the moment from LJMU. There are 2 players towards A. A little bit worried, but it looks like they're going to have enough players towards C to make a site defense possible.
Yeah, Bruder going to get that initial bit of contact, so giving some slight hints as to where they're looking to execute onto. Is Inklo going to get onto site now, but already going to be caught off by Bruder. Bruder finding another, going to find 2 here. Does eventually go down to infancy, but gets that trade back straight away. And it's going to be LJMU taking that in one hell of a quick fashion.
Very, very fast play there. The execute comes on in, and Bruder is able to get both of the opening kills there. Those 2 kills basically flip that round from being a 5v2 into a 3v2 with 3 players backup coming in for LJMU in very short order. So PSE in a tough spot there, and Enfancy definitely doing a lot of work so far. Currently 13v8, the only player on PSE currently that is positive, but it's just not enough to match the combined force of Dark Yora and Bruder, who are both towards that C site when the X2 came in. Those aimers have been performing well as the chambers go 1 for 1, and it's Crazy Sheep that comes out on top. Yokai gets dropped there with the headhunter.
Crazy gonna find another.
Finds
Crazy
3?
One enemy remaining.
This is disgusting. This is beautiful from him. It's just gonna be Luki alive. They go down, and round goes quickly once again. Crazy putting on a show with that Marshall.
You do love to see it, don't you? I mean, Yokai with the headhunter was the only one in that situation that had a sort of an even chance there in that duel. The rest of them out in the open, caught unawares. That Marshall is going to pick you apart. And Crazy Stride makes it work. Very strong performance in that. I don't think he's going to be too unhappy to have that into the rifles here. Again, you land a headshot or even just a body shot and you've done enough damage that now pistols or those Spectres can finish those players off. That full buy coming out from PSC could be diminished to nothing in short wall. They've instantly found a pick towards B.
They really have, and that's going to be their initiating factor. They're going to get the plant down straight away, but they have been held up just a little bit there by the chamber trademark, but they can just slow it down, and now almost playing an awkward position. They can't really play the defuse that well, and his brother's going to get half. He does eventually go down to Luki though. They are managing to keep the defuse alive just for a little bit longer. Now Crazy going to be the one on it, and can he get it? Luki connects again, and that is an interesting round, and it was close.
the defuse was not far off, we'll say that, right? It was relatively close in the scale of things. That bar was getting very close to completion, but PSG do find that diffuser just in the nick of time, and they will get their 5th round and prevent LJMU traversing too deep into the double digits. They've hit 10, but again, you need 13 to win. PSG on the attack could certainly make up those numbers.
Indeed, they could. So initial contact going to come through, though. This is some really nice util usage, actually, from the side of PSC. They've got pretty much all of long taken for free. That is going to kind of play into their advantage. Going to smoke Heaven, going to get that blind through. And the rotate's already happened, but Inklo going to go down, trade it out straight away. MC going to find 2 before he loses his life. But it has flipped back into the favor of PSC. For a brief moment, it was in LJMU's favor, but they just back off. Gonna be aware that they've probably rotated all the way onto A, and they're just gonna go straight over to C and play it in their advantage and play that 2v1 scenario.
Yokai gonna get set up close towards CT, prepared for a similar situation to what we saw a few rounds ago. That time the Chamber was in the 1v2, this time the Chamber's in the 2v1. Dark Europe has been a strong player so far for LJMU. Can they secure another win?
Well, unfortunately for LJMU, it's not going to be this round they're taking. It's going to be one of the latter ones potentially, but PSC playing it rather well. Maybe. Potentially. I said potentially for a reason. No favoritism here. Don't be silly, even though it wasn't my initial prediction. Yeah, really nice play from PSC. MC putting in a decent showing on that round, finding 2, keeping that in balance when they lost that initial pick from Inklo going in. It's really smartly played, and it really puts them in a good position as well to rack up a couple more rounds, as we see the bite for LJMU going to be mostly Sheriffs with a few Marshals sprinkled in for some flavour.
Yeah, I mean, the Marshal, it can really complement the Sheriff quite well. I think 1 Marshal shot and 1 Sheriff shot to the body is a kill. So if you do have the cash and someone's willing to play the Marshal, it can be fair. I mean, you don't even need a Marshal sometimes. Sometimes you can just walk into Infancy and headshot him, getting a little bit of his own medicine back from round number 4.
I mean, yeah, Kazi's going to be the one to do that for them. And I mean, yeah, you just, anything you can do, I can do better. And I think Kazi may have done it a little, not quite better than Infancy just yet, but one's good. It balances it out a little bit, allows them to
there's 4 more to go.
Collect that gun for them as well. But they're going to be able to collect that Vandal, which is going to be so big. But Inklo with a lovely shot connecting onto Britta, and now a 4v4 very quickly turns into a 4v1, and it's just going to be Kenzie alive with that Vandal.
I don't think there's a huge amount of point for them saving this. Their shields aren't even full. 3 though, and just as I think that they might be able to turn it into something, Ink Elo shuts them down. PSC starting to make up on the attacking side. They're doing very well for themselves. And LJMU, though, they have been struggling with the buys, of course. They got the first 2. The last 3 rounds have been a little bit rough economically. But here, they do have that full buy. This is the round that's really going to test these teams. If LJMU can get a W here, PSG will still have buys, but LJMU will be that much closer, and it'll be that much more worrying for PSG about that 13 points, which would secure them map number 1. Now, we have got that orb going on towards the chamber. LJMU have secured themselves toward force. Very, very important to have that on hand, and they're going to be using it as well. Instantly investing that once they grab it and moving it over towards that B site.
Yeah, they bait it a little bit. You give them a hint that potentially towards A that the chamber with the Tour de Force is going to be operating on, but backs off to B and gives them a little bit of unexpectedness if they were tempting fate heading towards that side. But a lot of util going to be dumped down. There's the Rolling Thunder for the side of PSC, and they've already got site claimed. Crazy's going to have to back off, and the plant is going to start coming down.
Spike planted.
Spamming through that smoke's not going to find anything. They are prepping their utility to go in for the retake, and they have found an opening. That's Dark Yora finding it, jumping on in. They find more, they find a third, and this suddenly is looking so possible for LJMU. They lovely flicker from Hilo might help deny this, but it's Yokai alone versus 4 will be dropped by Kenzie. And after a brief spree of faltering, LJMU have secured round number 11 and get that much closer to the map 1 victory that they do so desire.
Yeah, they really do, and it's not all lost for PSC just yet. You know, they're still able to get a full buy-in this round at least, but if they'd done just one more round, that economy would have looked so difficult. The credits would have been very low for the side of LJNU, and at that point, it would have been close to tying it up, and just potentially a key one to have dropped. But still alive, still got some rounds to play with. Definitely still has a chance to favour them as this initial swing comes through, and that's a lovely kill from Yokai.
LJMU down a player, and they don't want to aggress too. I mean, Sparkplug, he's walking right on in, and he finds a kill. Fortunately as well, I think Elo wasn't quite deep enough on the angle to get the trade. So it's even Stevens, and LJMU can now back off of that A-long, knowing they've just killed someone, and move elsewhere. But unfortunately for them, PSC's, they're going into it. They want to try and see if this player is stuck around and make their way a little bit deeper in towards that A site. That's pulling the rotates as well from LJMU off of C site.
Yeah, it's really nice here from PSC, just slowing it down enough. Gonna bait that initial bit of contact as well, potentially on a long here. But Kenzie hiding quite nicely, gonna swing, and they're not meeting each other. They're so close to making contact, just seeing each other with a glimpse of a 9. Now it's swung. They are not gonna go down. Kenzie gonna get that initial bit of info for them side. Gonna head out onto site. A nice kill though from MC, gonna connect. Doesn't get stunned and flashed by the Omen as Infancy's already on the site. Now, just slowing down. The plant might not fully be able to get it through. Actually, they were looking at C. I think they may have had a little bit of a miscommunication for the side of LJMU. Plant is finally going to go down.
Dark Yora with a wonderful opener, but it's Yokai that shuts both of those retake players coming in from CT. From LJMU, and Infancy finishes off the round, but it was a beautiful tap from that Reyna, unable to be developed into anything else. And that gap now only stands 3 rounds. It's a surmountable difference for PSZ. And although LJMU only need 2 to take a victory, PSZ has still got a very good shot here. As one of the most important things to account for here, as well as the fact that LJMU is very close to being broken on the economy. If PSZ win this round here, surely they will win the next, as LJMU is low on the economy. Crazy Shride, though, instantly knocks down in Kilo. That's a very strong opener. And if LJMU can just sort of back off here and hold on to this round advantage for when they need to retake the site, that will favour them hugely.
Yeah, numbers is going to really play in their favour. It's going to make it a little bit difficult for the side of PSC. Kind of have to adapt the way they want to play without their jet, so their traditional entry isn't going to be alive. Going to have to look to potentially utilise that fade ultimate finally, which they've held on to for so long. Really, they just haven't found opportunity to get Luki in a position to utilise it, and potentially if they want to try and keep this series alive and not force OT, this is where they need to do it. And it looks like they're opting for C-Long, and I think the play that I was potentially hinting at might be the way that they want to enter onto site, as Luki looks ready to set it up with combination with the breach. Lovely though, Infancy gonna find 2 now, and that entry was the one. A lovely flash coming through from both sides, but it's Infancy's the one to put them out on top. But they do spot Yokai. Is going to be forced away down towards long. Sovadark comes through. Kenzie finding one. Luki going to get the trade back onto him. Luki finding another Spark PLG going down. And now it's just going to be Dark Iora alive for LJNU. Can he find that pick? Finds Luki. Does manage to stay alive just about. But Infancy getting some nice damage onto him. Gonna get that rotator's way. And he has no idea where the chamber is. They could just play this post plant so beautifully. Oh. But a lovely kill from Dark Iora connecting onto him.
Holds it.
Close. But it's
Oh.
Infancy connecting. That's gonna be 9 rounds for PSC here.
Now that was a banging round from both of those teams. The loveliest shot I've seen on towards that chamber, deep on C long. And then held that defuse. Maybe would have had enough time. Like, I don't think so, but maybe the Emphasis wouldn't have peeked out. But then had the read on where Emphasis was coming from. Unfortunately, unable to win that fight. LJMU, as I said, the economy not looking too hot. They're on a interesting buy with just the sheriffs. And, oh, they're just grouping up in the smoke. If they get a flash through maybe from the sky here, this is 2 free kills for them. Surely they're going to flash through in time. They are. And they're so blind. There's 2 for the side of PSC. I can't even read the how quickly that kill log went. LGMU with 2 alive though. PSC only 3. Crazy Shred knocks that down to 2.
He does, and it's just going to be a 1 versus 2. 30 HP on the board for him. He's tempting fate here with Inklo. Inklo just trying to get him onto site. But it does seem to favour PSC. Doesn't connect that initial shot. Does manage to get the Sheriff just about. And that play could have been so brilliant. But it was actually, again, that cloud burst from Inklo stopping that dart coming through and stopping them getting that initial pick. As Inklo going to connect onto Crazy. And that brings this series 1 round closer to a tied game.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this is PSZ's pick, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm not remembering that correctly. I remember it correctly. Haven is their map pick, so we are sort of favouring them, I suppose, in this best of 3. Obviously, you're expected to win your map pick in an even matchup, so I think it's fair enough to say that them catching up here is no surprise. Obviously, their attack on Haven must be good. This is the map that they pick up. They pick to play first. Oh, we're having to back off heavily off of A long here as 3 players charging up. LJMU in position to retake, but no one on site to defend immediately. It's going to be a 5v5 retake.
This is going to be a very interesting scenario for both of these sides. Both the Fade Ultimate and the Rolling Thunder going to be utilised, but it's Dark Eora finding that initial pick. And the info they gained isn't going to do too much for the side of PSZ as they connect. Infancy gonna get the trade back. RPOG
Ooh.
Now. Infancy, can he clutch it? 1 versus 1. Infancy stays alive and he gets Crazy so low and he manages connect. And Infancy.
Another huge round from the controller player of PSZ. You usually do not expect the controllers to be the star, but Entity has shown it time and time again with a very clutch teleport coming on out from the Omen to, well, basically be on the complete opposite side of the site to watch that chamber expected. Had enough bullets left in that Phantom to knock on down Yokai. And, sorry, not Yokai, Crazy Shrine. And PSZ even it up. 11-11. LJMU. They somehow get the opener though as Kernsey walks out. MC does have a response as they run out middle on towards B. There's no one from LJMU in position to defend. Dark Eora, the closest player, but locked out by Smokes.
Yeah, he's locked out by Smokes and he's in a very difficult position. If you manage to catch the credits at the start of the round, LJMU on a very difficult buy. A lot of them going to be on the Sheriffs. And that one Vandal, but it's actually going to be cleaned up. Just going to be Lukey alive. He does have a lot of info on where they are, but he gets blinded, and it's going to go down and around where credits were not in their favour. It's LJMU picking it up, and it's match point for them, and it's do or die for PSC in this first game.
That was an unbelievable shot from Dark Euro. There swings out the smoke and wins the duel with an instant flick to the head of Ink Elo there. Wonderful stuff from the top fragger for the Liverpool John Moore's side, and Dark Euro 22 and 16 had a huge game so far. Now they do need to come out on top this round, otherwise they will be going to overtime, and the rest of the economy that they've been trying to build up will be for naught. PSC doesn't have the craziest buy, but they do have an operator out. Inky obviously a little bit weaker on that Guardian, but it should be enough if they want to win badly enough.
Yeah, they're taking this initial aggression just to kind of almost fake what they want to do, but Crazy holding this position, didn't get caught by that little bit of Fade utility. Is Lukey just going to wait? see if someone wants to tempt fate with him and cross a little bit too far down short, but Crazy just going to hold it for now.
Ooh, Lukey. Don't get antsy about this corner. You do not want to walk in towards this operator. But the rest of their team is now in position. And Crazy Shreed finds one. But all 4 other players for PSG are on this site. LJMU's got a long way to walk for these rotates.
They do indeed, but it's actually going to be Spark PLG connecting onto Yokai with that Hunter's Fury. Going to clean them up and put them in advantageous positions. So Spark PLG now with the Shock Dart connecting onto MC. 5 versus 2. Can Empathy clutch it? He only finds 1. This all on Inklo with that Guardian. But he's getting low. 8 HP in a dream. Doesn't connect. And that's going to be LJNU taking Haven and taking this first map of the series.
That is almost, I think, almost an identical sort of situation to what we actually had last week. If you think back, we had the opposite team, in this case LJMU, picking up their opponent's map pick in very tight form. 13-11, very, very close game, but they have now taken PSC's map pick. So they're looking pretty hopeful right now. They're going to be going on to Breach, which is their favoured map of the series. And they're already 1-0 up. So this could be, it's shaping up, in my mind, to potentially look like a 2-0. But I don't think PSG is going to go down without a fight, at least. I'm sure they'll show us something stellar when we do make it over to Breeze.
Indeed. It's an impressive showing once again.
Oh,
we're back. We are back. We're back. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's an interesting one. We're back in that sort of similar scenario where we saw last week with Cardiff and UCL. They were both in very interesting positions, but it's almost a repeat. We saw some big plays come out from people like Infancy this week and Inklo.
Yes.
And even on the side of LJMU, Darkiora putting on one hell of a show on his end on that Arena. It's an interesting one. Obviously, it's not done yet for PSC. We still have the potential for them to come back, but they have got to put a lot of work in on Breeze, a lot of work on the map pick of LJMU. But we are going to head to a quick break, and we hope to see you back again.
Live 17 floors up, and when it rains, I can feel those drops in my window pane. Lets me know that I'm still here. But when the sun comes out, I will go outside. When it breaks through clouds, I will give a smile. Lets me know that I'm still here. Sometimes I want to run away, to find good times again, to find all my old friends. Good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again, and good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again, and
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Welcome back, everyone. We've just seen, I believe it was LJMU pick up map 1. The graphic above my head is, I'm pretty sure that's wrong, but LJMU has picked up map 1. It was a stellar form of match, as we saw. 13-11. Wasn't that a good one, Walker? 13-11, close game, and it was PSE's pick.
It was PSC's pick, and it was one close game. I feel like that's all we ever get, Hanno. You know, we're never involved in these little quick whitewashes. It's always to the final wire, and it was LJMU who came out on top, and in impressive fashion. But some highlight plays definitely for both of those sides. Definitely.
I mean, the name to mention, despite losing the game, Infancy, starting off that series only 4 rounds in, I think, with that ace sheriff play on the eco. That's one thing to mention. And then later on in the half, with a couple of clutch scenarios towards the latter half of the second session, where they, in clutch scenarios, performed miraculous feats, wonderful shots, and some beautiful situations resolved very easily, it looked like, almost, by Infancy, who, again, was top of their team, if I remember correctly. A strong performance from Infancy. But they didn't quite manage to pull their team over the line. That was pretty much down to, I think, Dark Yora and a couple of other players from the LGMU roster that were doing incredibly well. I think Dark Yora hit some incredible... Dark Yora's not the Fortnite player, but they were hitting some 90s.
I mean, yeah, I think they taught Lukey how to hit the 90s, the previous Fortnite player. But we are going to be heading to Breeze for our second map, and I think we're going to be heading straight in.
Oh, there we go. We should be seeing the agent picks straight away. And is that not interesting? We see Ink Elo lock it straight back on in. Lukey, though, they weren't on the sofa before, were they? Or am I just misremembering? I think they were on something else.
They were.
I'm already forgetting.
They were on the fade, in fact, for that initial pick.
That's it.
But it's a slightly more awkward fade map. It's not something you see too often here from your initiator player. So the Sova makes a lot more sense. Both teams going to be sticking to it. And a pretty familiar comp here for LJMU as well. You know, a lot of people are keeping the same roles. The only people who are really switching it up is going to be Kernsey going over to playing the controller, whereas Bruder's going to be over onto that initiator on the KO. But both of these sides, keeping it very similar, just that duelist change. Jet for the side of PSC, and Dark Yora staying on that tried and trusted Reyna.
the interesting thing about LJMU is that they are swapping those player roles over. I think changing Kernsey from that initiator player into now a controller player. I mean, obviously Viper plays very, very differently to Omen, but you tend to see teams that have like one player that does all of the controlling. And so that's an issue on that. It shows that LJMU's got some flexibility in there. And I think the nice thing as well about their comp change is that that's made space for this KO. Definitely one of the stronger agents in the game right now, especially with the upcoming Chamber nerfs. I think KO is going to, Chamber's still going to get picked a lot, but KO is definitely going to rise in priority potentially to fill that gap that might be left. On this particular map, it's still strong, but obviously because of just the openness and size of a lot of these sites, KO ult is not necessarily able to hit all of the defenders when you're going on the attack, or even hit all the attackers when you're trying to do a retake. So that is something to consider, but I still think it's a strong pick on Breeze.
Indeed, and it's going to be PSC starting on the attack here, and they're taking a lot of presence up mid. And mid control on Breeze is so important. They're just able to creep up and find that go factor where they want to enter. It looks like anchoring towards door, but just slowing it down as it seems. Like they're waiting for something, and it's going to be Spark PLG, but once they find something, it's going to be that initial pick onto MCK. But they just keep it slow. They are able to retrieve the bomb, though, here, PSC. And it looks like A is the site to hit, as they've already made that pre-rotation towards mid and towards B. 4 people stacked towards mid and B. Just going to be Yokai on the site for them on A. And he's going to have to get a couple of kills to keep it, but the rotate's coming through quick.
Teleport's ready.
Oh, the Headhunter is in position, but it's Yokai that wins it out. One shot to the head, that's all they need. 4 on towards this site. LJMU going quickly into this retake, dropping down some utility. Only Brudder fighting straight off. Lovely shock dart there, taking out Yokai. They've got to be careful of Ink Elo. Is spotted out. 2 bits of utility. Find Ink Elo there. And Sparkplug finds a 3rd. Looking for more. Dark Cura finds the 4th. Just 1 player left alive. Lukey will fall to Kernsey, and LJMU yet again picking up the first pistol of the map in a relatively convincing fashion. That retake was fast and efficient.
It was fast and efficient. It all came down to one key bit of utility. It was that Sova sonar arrow. It was so important for them. Spark able to find 3 off the back of it as well, or 2 off the back of it as well, after getting that initial pick in mid. But it all came down to that dart. It gave them so much info. Gave them complete awareness of where people like Inklo was and where Lukey was as well. Just set them up for success, and that sets a lot up. You know, a very defender-sided map here, Breeze. Really need to see it out.
Well, PSZ, what is their response going to be? A mid push, it looks like, with the pistols that they can scrounge together. Sparkplug calls the top, gets a lot of information off of that jump peak there. Gets some tagging out with the drone, and Crazy Shrine will use that to knock down 1 player. There's a couple more lurking around, but can't quite land the martial shots. Come on! Running out through, Brudder's not aware, will get dropped, but it's a 3-on-3.
Spike down mid.
Indeed it is, and it's going to be some very nice headshots from Kernsey.
Kernsey? You see those? Walker? Like, what?
I mean, bro, at this point, I'm not even surprised with Kernsey. He's just been doing so well. That Sheriff in his hand looks so comfortable. He looks like a natural with it. He might as well play the whole game with it at this point. But Kernsey putting his team on the back, and because he opted to go with the Deagle there, he's able to get that Vandal and put a little bit of pressure onto the side of PSC, which we saw in that initial map of Haven. They managed to pick up the rounds where the economy was definitely not in their favor. LJMU, and if they're able to do it again, especially on Breeze, it's really going to help them get that initial bit of advantage.
Yet again, we do see PSZ pushing up this middle angle, and they completely passed Bruno. Now, Inkilo fighting on towards B, and Kernsey's been dropped. That fragment going to force Sparkplug backwards, and C site is open for PSZ to get the plant. They're finding more picks on top of that, and LJMU, their only hope here is for Dark Yora to find some picks. Bruder's down, and it's just this Reyna in a situation 1v4.
Darkiora slowing it down. Did get a lot of contact onto Infancy, but a nice kill from Inkilo. And that is going to keep it in their favour. That is the round they need to be winning their PSC. And they only lost one casualty as well in Yokai, but that does keep their guns, that keeps the Vandals on their side as we head into this first full buy round for both of these sides.
Darkiora getting the operator out, dropping it over to Crazy Shride, who only does have the half shields, but I think that's all they will need. Plenty of utility agility over on the PSZ side there after picking up a pretty clean round number 3. And actually, this B side is completely empty. LJMU have opted, after the 2 rounds of mid-aggression that have come out in the last 2 from PSZ, they've opted to heavy play towards middle, but PSZ's not there. They're heading straight onto C, and it's completely open as this Viper is walled off.
Ward-off gets caught by the Sova drone as well. That's just going to allow the site to be taken for completely free, as we see a 5 versus 5 retake going to be coming through. And this Viper Wall gives them so much space on the site, but he's going to be caught by Sparkplug's drone, and that's going to be killed through the wall there in Kilo. Emphasis finds one in return, but it's difficult for them. 3 versus 3 though. Can they find that next pick? It's going to be Darkiora who finds the next.
Just one left. Infancy has been able to pull off these clutch situations before. Finds 2. That was not ideal. And Sparkplug now in the 1v1 has to get towards this spike and start the defuse. Infancy jumping on out. Will let it get to half. But what? Instantly just taps. Was that a pre-fight? I didn't even see Infancy on the screen. But it doesn't matter, because Sparkplug did not have enough time. 0.06 seconds.
Bro, that's so close. That shot that he lands there, Sparkplug, is... Some call it exquisite. That's chef kiss. That is chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But he's just out of time, and it's so
wasn't
close.
It's like you hit a shot like that and then you still don't win the round by 0.06 seconds.
You have to question
Oh,
it
that is gonna
sometimes.
suck.
Like, it wasn't on his side right there. It puts him in a bit of a difficult scenario now with a very weak economy and all anchoring towards mid now. They've showed that initial aggression. I think they were potentially hoping for fate that they'd go towards mid here, but they've taken the entirety of mid and they're on the flank. If Infancy doesn't get away in time, they might be caught by that oncoming onslaught from behind them as they push up and take the site and get the plant down here.
Healer's pushing in and has found one. Trying to get aggressive onto this chamber. Should be a kill as they head on to does a little bit of damage, but not enough to knock them down. 3 players left for LJMU, and they're knocked out by that 0 point. No abilities available. Inkilo finds 4. Inkilo finds the 5th. And that's 2 aces so far this series. Both of them for the side of PSZ. But, well, I mean, at least in this game, they have managed to establish a lead. Up 3-2 here on Breeze.
Yeah, and establishing a lead on not their map pick. It seems to be a common theme. When you pick a map, doesn't tend to go in your favour too much at the start. Now, obviously, as we saw last week, it ended up still going in favour of the side of UCL, but Cardiff did get it very close, obviously pushed it to OT. So it's going to be interesting to see how they react to this one here, LJMU, as they finally are able to buy up, but they've allowed that economy to build so much for the side of PSC that dropping one round isn't terrible for them, but playing so far back on the side, Currency just is going to allow them onto site, and Kilo's going to find him as well, and that's this site completely freed up for them.
Hunter's Fury burns out. Doesn't do a thing. A little bit of damage might come in. No, that shock dart just slightly overshoots, and Sparkplug unable to take out that knife right there. Darkiora has found an opener and also ran straight into this jet in a very tight spot with 8 HP remaining, but the rest of their team has backed them up well. and PSC chain another round together. That is 4 in a row for them here on the Breeze attack. Not something you usually see on this side of the map. So a strong start so far from them. If they can continue this throughout the rest of this half, they're going to be in a wonderful position to potentially pick up LJMU's own map pick. It's a little bit early to talk about it, but it could happen.
It could happen indeed, especially with the buy round that's coming out for LJMU. Going to be all opting towards the Sheriff, so it's definitely a difficult one. But we've seen them do it before in this sort of scenario. You know, winning at this round that definitely isn't in their favour. And Kazi tried to do it, but he wasn't able to do what he's known for, landing those Sheriff shots, and it's going to open up the site once again for the side of PSZ, who just love heading over to this B site.
The 4v5 retake yet again for LJMU. This time, though, they really haven't got the weaponry, and Fancy knocks 2 of them down like bowling pins, one after the other. Dark Eora has found a response, but that's all the Reyna will be getting with that Sheriff. Crazy Shreed has popped, of course, the tour de force early on in the round, but unfortunately for them, I don't think that's going to be finding much. It's found one, turning around just in time to potentially find MC, but it will not be the case. 5 and 2 up right now for PSZ. Plenty of ultimates available for that side as well. They've got 4 up and available. The Viper's Pit, the Tour de Force as well, which LJMU burnt last round to no effect. And with a 5-2 lead right now, and LJMU's economy sort of in the bin. They've got to buy this round, but if PSZ pick up a 6th for themselves, they'll be running away with this half indeed, as LJMU's got nothing in the bank.
Yeah, momentum really goes into their favour if they're able to pick this one up as well. You know, not only do you at least tie the half, but again, you force another economy buy to come through from LJMU. So this one could be really important from PSC, especially to just set them up for success heading into the latter part of this half and the next round. But that's going to be crazy, finding Yokai with a very aggressive throwing, just going to TP away. But Inkilo going to find one, does get the initial pick back though, Crazy, but goes down, and they have got sight for free once again. Aggressive plays from Inkilo is going to be the one to find it for them, and Spike is going to go down, and all the ultimates are online for all 5 of the players in the server right now.
A little bit of contact towards the left here, and there, and Dark Eura finds one. Traded out by Enfancy. Kernsey, the sole player, really wants to find a round, and LJMU have been missing on the server the last few, and spots a little bit towards their opposite number in the form of Enfancy, but that's all they will find is falling through the air. Enfancy swings, and they get knocked over. PSZ up to 6, and as I said, LJMU, look at that money. They have got basically nada. Crazy could get something, but it's just not enough to build a round off of.
Well, we thought that in the last game as well. This exact buy was what we saw before. They all bought deagles apart from one player. Granted, it was Dark Eora in the previous series, but they actually came out on top on that round. So I wouldn't exactly call LJMU out just yet, but 5 ultimates on the board for PSC, and mid control taken once again. They've slowed it down, trying to tease them a little bit, I guess, to just try and potentially get a little bit too far up, but doesn't manage to connect that first tour de force shot there, Yokai.
There's an opener for the side of PSC. Just the 1 player left on this site. Again, their weaponry is poor. Surely LJMU can't find much more in this situation. Crazy gets another.
He does tie it up now, but Kernsey's going to find, and they do keep trading 1 for 1 pretty much simultaneously here, both of these sides. But Bruder not going to connect his shot. 3 versus 2 in favour of PSC, but they've made this round expensive enough at the minimum here, LJMU. You know, they've got rid of at least 2 guns, but it's still doable. They can get onto site, but Crazy goes down. MCK going to be the one connecting. He does find the second. Kernsey goes down as well. They are going to get to 7 and go into the half favourable with an advantage at minimum.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a very strong start for them because they've just chained 7 together in a row with, I believe, 3 rounds left of this half. There's every possibility that they could be making 10 here, chaining round after round after round. They've got so much money in the bank that no matter what happens, they'll be buying the remainder of this half. There's nothing LJMU can do about that, which puts them in the awkward spot of having to win 3 rifle rounds in a row if they want to even make this half look anything semblance of even.
I love this aggression from Crazy. He does connect onto 2, but it's only going to be the KO ult for them as well. But that's going to be Sparkplug connecting onto Empathy, who's going to be picking him up. So it makes that aggressive play worth it for Crazy. That's going to be a 4 versus 2 in favour of LJ.
Oh!
What a shot! Lukey!
He's cranking 90s!
He's cranking
That was
the 90s
beautiful!
finally. That robotic aim, some may call it, from cranking the 90s is going to find that pick and put it a little bit more in their favour. It's a 2 versus 3 for PSC right now. And they have got almost a retake, but that's Yokai connecting. And he does find both. Did he land it? He only has 1 left. It's going to be Bruder. Doesn't connect the second shot. But he has complete inform where he is. It's just all on them. Bruder is
He can't
low.
pull out the headhunter. He can't do it because of the... Now he does, but it's just the wrong time. That KO ultimate was sort of giving away KO's position, but it was also denying the ability for Yokai to pull out that headhunter. And he was just sitting there with the shorty out and no other option. And then just as that ult ends, that it's a sort of a mistake to pull out the headhunter, swing a little bit too wide. And unfortunately, that clutch will not come to be.
Yeah, but it was so almost tempting to stay with the shorty just because of the range that he had to play at. I'd almost argue you want to stay with it and just play and wait for him to push, because at that point, with 30 HP on the board, you really need to close that distance and try and make it a bit more difficult, especially when he has the operator. So potentially a misplay, but that does get LJMU back on the board, does help them break that momentum of 7 rounds on the trot going in favour of PSC, but it's an expensive one for them nonetheless.
I mean, also, I think 3 rounds is the minimum where you can start to form a comeback when you do swap sides as well. So they'll be glad to have achieved the 3 rounds just basically needed so that you can pull off something when you get to the opposite side. Otherwise, with just 2 rounds, your opponents, you know, maybe they get a 10-2 half. Oh, lovely opener. And actually, they're going to go extra round to B.
Get out of my way.
They are, but Kunzi's playing this very aggressively here. And he's going to find that initial pick onto MC, but does get traded straight away by Lukey. So although they did manage to hold the side for just a little bit, the plant is going to be able to come down. The spark plug is also low. And it's very difficult for them as Inkilo's feeling it on this operator once again here on Breeze for his side. And it seems he's warmed up just a little bit more than what we saw in that previous game. But Bruder's going to find another. Keep it in contention. These Rain of Flashes could help them out, but trades it. A lovely double swing. Bruder now 15 HP in a dream. But both of them are low. Inkilo incredibly low, but he's going to find Bruder. And he goes down.
Right here.
They were both low. They were both killable. But it will not be. PSZ, there's a small blip in their chain of rounds where LJMU did win. But I think this chain, although broken in one part, will still continue. They've just picked up round number 11, making 8 for themselves. And going into the last round, again, LGMU, their economy is broken, their buy is weak. They have 2 Marshals, a Vandal, and a Sheriff.
Actually, a tour de force, because they both gamble at fate there. More so Bruder, who's only got the Marshal, tempting it into that operator of Inkilo, who's been putting on a show. 15 and 6 currently. He's at KD at the moment, but it's Crazy going to find him. Jump peeking just a little bit too much from Kilo, so going to drop that operator in mid, but it's going to be retrieved quickly. But that could help bring this back for LJMU. Getting 4 rounds potentially gives them a little bit more hope. The Sparkplug's going to go down. MC going to connect onto him with that a little bit of aggression from the Sparkplug as they look to anchor towards A once again.
Do get that cat tag onto Crazy, but that's all they will find. Dark Yora does finally land that shot and is able to knock out the recon dart. Now it's 3 on 3 again, and LJMU do have that tour de force, but it's so far away from this B site. The Viper is going to be able to drop that pit with that ultimate. And that's sort of a hard counter to the Tour de Force. Of course, really difficult to play around and in that smoke with that weapon. Brooder as well with a Marshall. Not the gun you want to be having when you're walking inside a very close combat arena.
Yeah, really not what you'd want to be having. That's a lovely pick from MCK, and they do find empathy at least, so that's going to be that Viper's pick going down. They do have some guns that they're able to pick up. That counter to the Tour de Force was online. It's post-spawn opportunities here for them. Crazy does manage to just dance with fate. Same with MCK. So Bruder's still on the spike, but it's Lukey's wrap from mid. Gonna get that kill on the defuse just before it went off. And MCK cleans it up. And it's a 9-3 half for PSC.
A very strong performance from them on LJMU's map pick indeed as well. Ink Elo 15 for 7. More than a 2 KD for this player right now. Playing on their opponent's map pick. And 9-3 up. Now, we've seen the 9-3 curse before. It has occurred in Newell history. But it would be quite a feat for LJMU to come back from this. The only rifle round they won was that round number 9, I think, isn't it there? So round number 10. The first 2 rounds was a pistol, and then the SMG round, which you should always win. So it's not looking ideal for them right now in these rifle and even Steven situations where you've got the same weaponry as your opponent. They're just being outclassed. Will that continue on their offensive side?
And they've done the exact same sort of play that we saw come out from the side of PSC on their attack, taking this mid-aggression. It's put Inkilo in a very, very difficult place as he's going to go down. A nice pick from Brooder, meeting that aggression and giving them a numbers advantage on their attack and almost looking to anchor towards this B site. Empathy is going to get spotted as he wasn't able to connect that shot. And that's going to put him in a very difficult place, especially if Darkiora is able to connect onto Lukey like that. Slows it down. Empathy does go down in the trade, but finds Crazy in the process. It's 4 versus 2 for LJMU. And they could mount the comeback. These pistol rounds are important. Gets them a little bit of advantage. He doesn't connect, but MC's getting incredibly low. He is tempting fate as they look to take the retake. Darkiora waiting to see if it's time to swing. Sparkplug goes down. Sparkplug gonna find him, in fact. He doesn't go down, he finds 2. And he cleans it up for LJMU.
You say what you want about LJMU, but they certainly are pistol round criminals. I think they've pretty much won every one we've seen so far. I can't quite remember back to the second one from Haven, but I'm pretty sure they've won at least 3 of the 4. Where the rest of, especially here on Breeze, they've won basically nothing but the pistols. So, I mean, it's good consistency from them, but I would like to see them really show up on one of these rifle rounds, which I'm sure will happen. 9-4 the scoreline, of course, and now that they have an advantageous buy as well, here in round 14, we should have some hope. No, Sparkplug instantly dropped. Inkilo trying to get aggressive as well. Finds 2! That's unbelievable from Inkilo. Taken down to 26 HP, then finds 2 headshots onto 2 of the star players from LJMU, shutting down their hopes at securing this second round.
Yeah, that's 2 amazing picks from Inkilo, especially, and also that pick from Yokai. That aggression he shows and the confidence to swing. You know, he has to make a play. He makes it, he gets that initial pick, and then Inkilo just cleans it up with 2 crispy headshots to get those picks and put them in such a nice position. Because he's going to find Lukey in mid, turned away just at the wrong time. And they at least have 1 Vandal still on the side of LJMU, but not too much else. Just the Marshal for Crazy as he waits to walk into Yokai's crosshair.
1 enemy remaining.
Ooh,
Spike down,
lovely
mid.
shot. Inkilo found the 2 kills with the Marshal, and sorry, with the Sheriff, and then secured a 3rd with
30
the
seconds
gun
left.
found off of the LGME player. Crazy has got a Vandal in hand, full HP and shields available. Are they going to check for empathy though? They get dropped. A thrifty round for PSZ, who secured double digits in a round they frankly had no business in. But off the plays of Ink, Elo, and Yokai at the start, finding 3 quick kills, they secure a beautiful round number 2.
Indeed. I'm glad your counting skills are really with it today, Hannah. I'm glad we can count to at least 10 at a minimum. You know, it's something
Doesn't go much higher, does it?
Doesn't go much
Surely.
higher. No, thankfully not.
Ooh.
But I mean, you said it. You know, in that first half, the only rounds that LGMU were winning was the pistol, that SMG round, which, I mean, traditionally they've been winning, and now they finally break it. So PSC in a very strong position heading into this one on the defense as well, building some momentum. But Dark Yora is going to be the one to potentially be trying to break that, but Yokai still in this angle. Does get killed off by Dark Yora as well. Inkilo going to find Bruder in the process. They are going to be able to claim some guns as well. Inkilo finds another, and he's trying to put this team on his back and even it out to a 3 versus 3. Currently in a very difficult place though. Going to be able to get the plant down, but stuck in a crossfire. Managing to stay alive just about.
Gunsy alone on the sponsor is spotted and dropped by Lukey straight away. 2 on 2. Lukey can't find the counter. Crazy and Ink Elo forced off the angle as Crazy does teleport. 55 HP, but might be able to get a defuse in safely from behind the wall. Crazy has to peek, but somehow none of those bullets connect, and Crazy wins out the 1v1 despite being 5 HP. Somehow LGMU, from unbelievable odds, to the fact that all those bullets just sort of went around and spread out anywhere but on Crazy's body, LGMU secure themselves another round, an important round as well, because they had a weak buy there, and now off winning that, they've been able to secure themselves a rifle round as well as an operator on top by Crazy. That might be the play that turns around this map for LGMU, that turns around their attacking side, and hopefully delivers them some more rounds off the back of it.
Yeah, it's put them in a very difficult place. Obviously, PSC have got a few rounds to play around. Seems like B is now the anchorage for them here, looking to head onto that side and see the way they want to execute it. But Inkilo's going to pull out that Blade Storm, see if he can find anything. A nice knife comes through, though, from the side of LGMU to almost mitigate that, as he has to wait 2 seconds. He's been suppressed. They are going to get sniped. They haven't cleared. Backside, he finds one. Can he find the second? Doesn't connect just yet onto Sparkplug. Only got the classic in hand. And he does go down. 2 versus 3. They've made it expensive at least here, PSC. But Crazy connects. It's just going to be Yokai alive. And he goes down very quickly afterwards.
Well, that clutch then from Crazy, very, very important. Able to get that operator in hand for themselves. They're doing very well that round, finding 2 or 3. And the rest of their team as well, staying, majority of them, alive there in round number 4 of the second half, where PSG, although, yeah, they were not great Arsenal-wise, they didn't have the guns necessarily to fight off that B-side offense. The fact that LJMU have managed to chain just a few rounds, just a couple of rounds together, and get 3 out of the 4 in this second half is very promising for the side.
And it's been a common factor. Both of these sides seem to almost be preferring the offense on both these maps, going very close on both of them, still going in both of their sides' favours, despite, you know, not tying it up, not forcing OT in the previous game. But they've just got onto site straight away here. LJMU, no attack even needed. The Viper's Pit going to come down as well. Dark Yora with that blind, that lid to try and get across and out from that almost difficult spot behind the stones. He is staying alive, and Bruder playing very close into this. Is someone going to tempt fate? Bruder gets low, 70%, 70 HP. Does get taken, does get the pick, in fact, onto Yokai. And they are making it very difficult here, using this Viper's Pit excellently. It's just going to be 2 people alive. Dark Yora pushes out, tempts fate, just going to be Lukey alive, and he goes down. Dark Yora and cleans it up. It's going to be 7-10, still in favour of PSC.
It's still in favour of them, but the fact that LJMU on this offense just looks like a slightly different beast is really really encouraging to see. The fact that Darko and Bruder have also got ultimates up and available, that Crazy is not far off, is not a great look as well for PSC. As though because 22 and 12, it's looking good. They're still 3 rounds up, but their buy isn't going to be great here. And as long as LJMU can win this round without losing too much, without having to invest too much, the next few rifle rounds are going to be difficult for PSG as well, because again, Crazy not only going to have this opera in hand, but also may have that tour de force, as well as the KO ultimate potentially coming on in when it's needed.
Yeah, that initial pick does come through for Crazy as well, which is so important for his side. He looked to take that initial bit of aggression in Kilo, and it's now actually going to be Empathy in the aggression, and they've spotted some kind of noise coming through, but Crazy with another kill onto Yokai. And this does just free up the site, although MC is so close, they can just clear it up. And can he catch Crazy on the rotate? He does, Empathy. Can he find another? Doesn't. Still in their favor. A nice flash low from MC. Is going to go down. It's just going to be Luki alive as Dark Yura rushes away and stays alive and keeps it at 3v1.
Luki was desperately trying to find a Reyna there, but completely invulnerable, untargetable. Dark Yura just sprints out of there, able to give all their information, of course, to their teammates, saying exactly where this last player is, and that's how they close it out. LJMU doing well on this attacking side, and I believe this is the first timeout that we've seen all series. This will be coming out from PSZ, who again had a very big lead coming into this half. 6 rounds of a lead, and now that's been reduced to 2. So this is a fair enough timeout. Maybe they could have called the timeout a little bit earlier, but this is a good chance for them to break it down, talk to each other, have a little bit of discussion. What's going wrong on this defense?
I think it's ultimately coming down to just the style that both of these teams are playing. We've seen that they like to take a lot of mid control on their attack. Now, on the defense, obviously, they're not really anchoring too much towards mid. Seem to be not really seeing much opportunity to maybe take some aggression, kind of count them out, especially the only real time they did it was on that round, which they won earlier on in the half on that second round. It's been very difficult for them. They need to use this time wisely, and it's the first pause that we've seen, as you said, and it's at the right time. They built a little bit of momentum here, LJMU. They're able to reset a little bit. PSC just take some time and adjust the style of play.
A setup to take A here from LJMU. All sitting right outside this tunnel position. The drone goes in, spots the op. The wall should come down straight on after. Yokai has repositioned to be in front of that. Has dropped the first player. Opens up this round into something more. But I think Elo as well found something from lurking out middle and coming behind LJMU. They were set up for an A take, but they've been shut down before they've even got out onto the site.
Yeah, shut down straight away. But I think Dakiora has got into a nice position. Did manage to cross just in time, I believe, and he does, but he does manage to find that pick onto Yokai. What a lovely shot from Dakiora, keeping it alive for LJMU, but they have got complete site control. Now they are able to utilize some ultimates. That KO ult going to be coming through as they do get control, and Dakiora plays out in the open. An uncommon mistake from him here is going to make it difficult as MCK finds Brooder, and he cleans it up, and that pause may have come at the right time for PSC as they get one step closer to forcing this next map and that potential victory on Breeze.
I'm telling you, timeouts, when used effectively, they really do work. As long as you've got the right mentality going into those sort of 1 minute just freeze time where you can have a little chat and figure out what you want to do. They really are effective. PSC has demonstrated that there, calling that timeout and then instantly performing incredibly well, picking up that next round. And yeah, as you say, being on 11, they're dangerously close to closing out this game. LJMU's got a tall order in front of them to secure the next at least 4 rounds, if not 5, to push themselves to a win. They're not seeing much at the moment. They are sitting outside of B, but they're kind of looking for this mid-aggression. Last round, they did see quite a bit of it, of course, coming behind them. Those are executing to A. Here, there's none of it coming out of PSC. They've completely changed their strategy. They've gone back to playing it smart and safe. And Luki, definitely spotted Dark Yura there. Definitely spotted one. And takes a while to see the second, but will take that kill. And PSG now knows exactly where LJMU's heading.
Spike
Yeah, and emphasis is going to connect onto Kernsey as well. So it is going to be in their favour once again. PSC, especially as Inkilo finds Dark Eora, the main man for this LGMU side, but Crazy's going to try to put it back in their favour as Bruder pushes out now, but does get caught by Inkilo. Once again, the main man for PSC, killing the main man for the side of LJMU, and they get it to 12 PSC. And it's do or die for LJMU. If they want to close this series out now, they're forcing it to overtime at a minimum.
Yeah, otherwise, we're going to be seeing a whole nother map. We could be heading to Ascent in just a moment. Depends if PSZ, with this strong buy, large accumulation of ultimate abilities, and, frankly, 4 rounds to do it in, if they can just secure 1 more, they win their opponent's pick and push themselves into a Game 3 scenario. Yokai crouching down, not going to get spotted by that drone. Is seen just at the end of that and posted on up. Swings out. And Kernsey's gone.
And that is your controller. You have no Viper wall to get onto this site. So a lot of utility's got to be utilised, and Yokai doesn't connect his shot. That allows Dark Eora to cross over, and Inkilo's on the flank once again. Bruder does connect though. They do manage to level it out just a little bit with Inkilo on this flank though. Does find another. He's been on a show. Inkilo, can he pull it out for his team? It's just going to be the main man, Dark Eora, alive, but he goes down. And we are heading to Ascent. And we are getting a map 3 finally here, Hanno.
Last week, we were denied it in one of the best of 3s I've seen. It was only 2 maps long. Now, we get another incredible best of 3, but this time, we get the full 3 maps. And, frankly, I'm excited to see it. Ascent coming up for that last map. I'm sure it will be just as fun to watch as the first 2. And again, we see a situation where both teams are winning each other's maps for some reason. I'm not sure how that's worked out, but it always seems to be the case in these sort of lower bracket runs.
It really does. It's an interesting one. They've been doing so well here, PSC. It's almost a nice little changeover, a nice little momentum switch as well for them.
Yeah.
You know, they just played it so well, and that timeout that you called so perfectly, Hanno. And they got those key rounds.
For them, again, they maybe could have taken it a round or 2 early, but frankly, they took it when they needed to. They started to recognise that the LJMU had their number. They took a minute just to think about it, break down what was happening, and start to strategize. Because sometimes the time you get the
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you just missed that last game, well, it was a very, very interesting one to say the least. Both these teams trading map pick for map pick. I am, of course, Walker. Joining me is the ever so wonderful Hanno. Hanno, give us a little rundown of what people may have missed if they didn't catch that last map.
So that last map was LJMU's map pick, but we saw PSC pull out an incredible streak of rounds, starting off going 2-0 to LJMU, picking up the pistol and then the SMG round. PSC, I think, went on a 7-round win streak and ended the half as well, up 9-3. They then proceeded to pick up the following pistol, do a very good job. Lose the following pistol, pick up the second round as well, doing an incredible job, especially from the Jet player for PSC, who took down 2 of LJMU's players towards middle in an incredible round. Play that definitely flipped that round around for them. And then they proceeded to pretty much lose every rifle round until they called a timeout 4 rounds later. And then they, based purely off that timeout, they then won, I think, the next 3 or 4 in a row and shut LGMU down. So PSZ with an incredible little roller coaster of a map 2 there, where their map 1, of course, being so close, 13-11 to LGMU. Map 2 looked very, very dominant until that second half sort of slipped away from them a little bit. They managed to pull it back in hand and close it out. Now 1-1, we finally get to see a map 3, Walker, and it is going to be Ascent. And boy, am I excited for it.
Yeah, Ascent, probably one of the more interesting maps. I think a lot of teams it's that deciding map a lot of the time. It's definitely late in in that ban phase most of the time. You're umming and ahhing between it with more traditional maps, I guess a lot of people will say. But Ascent is very, very interesting. You see a lot of compositional changes. Chamber obviously probably going to be very much in that stuck position where we're always going to be seeing him. I personally like to change it up. I like the Killjoy a little bit on Ascent. It's a bit more of an older style. We saw it a lot in the early days of Ascent, but I still think it's great. That Killjoy was so useful for retake. And we saw it last week in that game between UCL and Cardiff, utilising that Killjoy so well, both of those sides. It just worked for them. And, it's a pick that both these teams could potentially leverage, especially with how flexible both of them have been in terms of the roles that their players are playing.
Yeah, obviously, you sort of also want to be picking up a Sova in that situation to kind of counter the potential for your opponent to play Killjoy. It's a little bit of like an awkward one. It's like, if you think they're going to play the Killjoy, you sort of have to pick up that Sova, or at least something that can counter that ability, which realistically, consistently, is only the Sova. So, but if you think, maybe they're not going to go for the Killjoy, then you could actually opt out of it, look for other things, and that gives you a little bit of flexibility in your comp. But yeah, most teams at the moment are picking up that Sova, and then we saw last week the Killjoy came out, but it was less effective for one side than the other because one of them was lacking that Hunter's Fury and couldn't shut down their opponents easily. But we shall have to see what these two teams pick. I'm sure it will be interesting. We've seen a little bit of variety coming on out, especially from LGMU. They swapped, didn't they? Their controller player, I believe. If I remember correctly, they moved their Omen player from map 1 over onto that KO, and then they moved their Fade player on towards the Viper. So they've got a bit of variety in their comp. Let's see if they do it again here as we do hop into Agent Select.
Indeed, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. It's going to be Lukey straight onto the Sova. It seems like PSC, they have one way. It's going to be those 3 staying with them staple heroes. Lukey on to the Sova in Kilo, onto the Jet. Obviously, Yokai on that Chamber. Don't think there's any surprises there. Some potential surprises coming through from LJMU. Kenzie, he seems to be that main flex player for LJMU. So he's going to be potentially hovering over that Jet. He's going to lock it in. So double duelist is the compositional style of choice for LJMU. Something which we haven't seen too much, but it seems like it's potentially going to be both sides opting for it. MCK, tempting fate, seeing the neon potentially.
I love this.
I know.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned it before, and I know you want to see it at least once when we're on broadcast, and it might happen soon. But MCK in that awkward position, they don't really know what they want to do.
I think they have to get. Surely MC has to go KO here. It's no one else going to pick it. Like, the fact that LJMU hasn't picked one is interesting to me. I've always seen the KO come out. Yeah, there you go. MC does pick it, but LJMU are lacking it. And that KO is also very strong into the Reyna, into the Jet, and also into the Chamber. As well as, you know, if you land in the right place at the right time, suddenly that Sova completely count all their utility in the dirt. So MC with the right pick there, I definitely think it's going to be a challenge, I want to say, for LJMU to do well on Ascent without that KO. I'm so used to seeing it pretty much picked by every team.
Yeah, they don't have a traditional flash as well. I know they've got the Reyna, Liz, but it doesn't really do the same thing. That KO flash that he has in his artillery is so important, and the utilization of that can just open up an entire site. I'm sure we've all seen it on TikTok lately. That guy, the pocket KO, as I believe he's going around as, just throwing these insane KO flashes. And if you're able to set up your team like that, it just opens up so much opportunity for them. So it's definitely interesting to see LJMU not opting to at least play one of them on the KO. You know, we saw Brother do it, so maybe you do that and then send Kernsey off of the Jet and put him on a controller. It's definitely interesting for them. How do you look to attack this for the side of PSC? How would you look to enter onto site? Is it going with that Jet using the flash? Is it waiting for the smokes, taking some time, playing it a bit slower? What would you do in the scenario here, Hanno?
I think the first thing you're going to be aiming to do is get that knife onto wherever you're trying to take that duel. That's going to be very favourable for example, denying this chamber from teleporting out, or preventing the Reyna from dropping a Leer, as well as any darts coming in from the Sova could be countered by that. Help you win that 1v1 that the Jet would dash on in with. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a pause right now. Not sure exactly what's going on, but a little bit of a technical pause while we get something resolved. But that's what I would be looking for to do to going into that towards that B. So it looks like they're going to group up here, and hopefully it's going to be basically MC chucking in all that util to help the rest of their team get on and in towards that site.
Yeah, and it looks like that's going to be the way to do it. It's crazy. Goes incredibly aggressive.
Ooh.
And a lovely shot onto Inkilo. It's going to confirm the first kill of this map here on Ascent. And it's going to be crazy with that pick as Darkiora finds emphasis as well. So it's just going to be the 2 versus 5 spot block back here. We've seen this once before when we're casting. We might have seen it again, but Luke goes down. And Sparkplug performing scenes that we saw last week from the great reign of Cardiff.
LJMU, they keep up their title of the pistol round criminals. They secure every single one, pretty much, this series. PSG doesn't even have a say in a lot of them there. That one, flawless. Not a single player lost from the side of Liverpool, John Morrison. With that 1 round under their belt, they're going to try and build it out to more. Now, we've seen a lot of their second rounds go wrong. We'll see if they've learnt their lesson from last game, and if they can keep themselves alive, keep their guns available until they actually go in towards these site takes.
Just going to slow it down. Do opt for the Ares on that B site in that traditional place. If they were looking to push it very aggressively, would have got a lot of damage done. Darkiora, of course. I've seen it mentioned before, but this seems to be his crutch play. He's so confident in his aim and his ability as a player, of course. Why wouldn't you be? When you're getting to this stage of the tournament, he just goes for the Vandal, plays the Light Shield, and doesn't really mind if he goes down, because he knows at least he'll get 1 or 2, and he's able to get traded as well. So it just sets his team up for success. So interesting, normally we're taught as Valorant players to, stick to the SMGs, but Darkiora are changing it up. Normally working in his favor, but they're just slowing it down. It looks like a site burst is going to be coming from PSC towards this A site.
The silence before the storm as Inkilo prepares to dash on into this site.
30 seconds left.
He manages to get across. They do get onto site, and that's going to be MC connecting onto Brutus, so that's at least making it somewhat difficult for them, but Darkiora gets the trade instantly, then finds Inkilo. Crazy's getting blocked by Darkiora. Kernsey out, appearing from tree, and managing to clean it up. Just a 4 versus 2 for the side of PSC. And they do land a ding. They'll slow it down. Yokai is going to be up on rafters, and I don't think they're fully aware, and he nearly lands that flick. But Darkiora cleans it up, and I mentioned it He's so confident. He buys that Vandal with all the confidence in the world and finds 3 and cleans up that second round for LJMU.
And they keep 3 alive as well, so their economy is going to be relatively healthy after that. Again, we've seen a few of these second rounds where one of the teams, despite being favoured in it, only keeps 1 player alive. And what that results in is an economy that's not really super favoured towards you. And that's one of the things, I think, especially here on Ascent, that you want to start doing is building up a really healthy defence economy. And LGMU's starting to build that up. They've got a Marshal or 2, actually, out here in Ares, and a Vandal as well on one of their players. So they've got enough here that they can hopefully do a good, show us a good fight against the Rifles coming out here in the 3rd round. Well, there you go. Crazy finds MC instantly. The Marshal, so deadly. You can't go in unawares of the danger of this thing. Doesn't matter how much you buy, that thing will still one-shot you to the head.
Indeed, and it's going to be Inkilo taking this mid control, looking to get Peter, but does back off after finding that pick onto Crazy. Now decides to push up into it as Lukey also taking this aggression, and so nice from them. Although they lost that initial pick, it's just trade after trade. Lukey does go down in the end though, and that does give them a little bit of a hint of the way they're playing. They were looking to anchor towards there, slowing it down nicely, but making it difficult for them. They are indeed LJMU.
They're walking up towards Kernsey. He's in position to potentially get all 3 here. Found 1, going to re-swing on out, finds a second. Lovely headshots coming out from this Jet player. A little bit too bold, thinks the Emphasis is going to be a little bit further off than that. Has their knife out when the Omen swings. Now, Emphasis in map 1 was a key player and a reason for why PSZ got so close in their number of rounds. But here in map 3, they won't be showing us that level of skill just yet, as they do get caught unawares by the Reina in Heaven. LJMU, it's a little bit more bloody this time, but they do secure round 3.
Yeah, they do, and it's these rounds that these teams aren't expected to win when you look at it from their economy, but they just managed to do so every single time, it seems, and now it puts PSC on the back foot. They're probably not going to be favoured in this one either. Spectres and Light Shield Stinger. And a Shorty from Yokai is probably going to be opting to get a few bullets in that Headhunter to try and make the difference, but it's difficult for them. And as you say, building that economy on the defense is so important for these defending sides, and LJMU, they're definitely starting to do so.
Crazy backs off, doesn't take any damage whatsoever, but because the side take is running on in, Bruder swings out widely, gets caught out with a bunch of utility, and somehow the Stinger kills him from so far away. MC has killed another, and we do see Emphasis has walked into this smoke, trying to play very aggressive. Crazy here with the op. If they do decide to walk in, Emphasis might be able to get the drop on them. Sparkplug here tags 1, but because of the angle that they're playing in, there's no way they can spam through the wall.
Yeah, and it was Emphasis' peak that caught him out. MC does manage to get Sparkplug though, so they are making it difficult. And every single time I seem to say it, these rounds that they aren't meant to buy, they seem to be converting them. Free close undersight. There goes Crazy now, and it's just going to be Darkiora, the main man. Will they sell JMU's side? He finds 2. Can he find the 3rd? He hasn't really got time to get the defuse. But he does make it difficult for them. He makes it expensive. That's going to be Lukey converting. And they are going to get on the board finally here, PSC.
Lukey with that Stinger though, MVP, finds 2 kills, 1 on the entry onto Bruder, and then a second there at the end there onto Darkiora. Definitely not the gun that you'd expect to be finding kills from that far away. But yeah, the Stinger, not to be underestimated, as PSZ do pick up their first round of this map. And LGMU, because they kept a lot of players alive in a few of the previous rounds, they do have enough to get 3 guns out, and they've decided to opt into that buy. With only 3 guns, they still buy it up. They get the Sheriff on towards one of their players, and they also have, of course, the ultimates coming out from both Jet and Chamber. So a heavy investment into this round, but that does sort of equivalent to a buy.
Yeah, and they're just going to shut down Crazy so quickly here. He's only going to have the Stinger on board, but he gets the kill. And Kilo definitely been put in his place, showing the Stinger is not only going to work for the side of PSC, but it also works for the side of LJMU, but he does go down very quickly after. They are going to get that spike down, 4 versus 2 in favor of PSC. And a very nice site execute to get it down for them.
Guernsey now has those knives back. Swings on out. Can't find a thing. It's just Brother left alone. 1 versus 4. Being spammed, being flashed, having to back off 5 bullets in the mag would require an absolute miracle at this point to secure the round. They have got to reload off and they've got 1 kill. But that will not be enough. And Walker, I've got to say, the problem with LJMU having their having that kind of a buy there is that they know they're playing into this KO. And the KO has ult. And so, no matter what site is attacked, that KO is going to be ulting. Your Jet and your Chamber are useless. I would almost have thought either do something aggressive with that Chamber ult, with that... what's the name of that? Jet ult. Do something aggressive, because otherwise you're not going to get the chance if you let them come to you. But no, they got caught out. That Chamber was completely denied their tour de force. And what can you do on a defense when all you've got is a pistol?
Well, there's not really much you can do, and it nearly ended up in a bit of a disarray for Inkilo there. He actually dashed into his own Sova drone when he was trying to enter onto Sova. So if caught in the wrong position, it could have ended badly for him, but they did get the initial pick on to Darky Aura, so that does help them out. That does get them side control. He does juice the swing. He finds the first, does get the second low. Finally finds Spark Plug. That's going to be 2 for Inkilo there, and makes it very difficult for Crazy to find anything. He's just waiting. He knows that someone's going to wrap him, because he does land that body shot initially. But it's going to be difficult for them. Inkilo? Inkilo?
Oh no! Oh no! I mean, that sort of overshadows the fact that Crazy hit a mad flick onto the Jet, dashing up into the air to connect that final headshot. Completely unneeded, as Inkilo had been tagged a couple of times already, it looked like. But, wow. That Jet, great movement. Solid movement, just the aim not quite there.
Yeah, I rate the play, you know, it nearly worked. If he had 1 more bullet, I'd say maybe there was a chance from Inkilo, but they secure the round and they tie up to 3-3, which is definitely big for them. You know, we talked about building that economy on the defense. Well, building the economy on the attack's definitely going to help them as well, as they're able to get some pretty healthy buys later on down the line if they were to falter at this next hurdle. But they've tied it up, and now they can play this in a little bit of a different style, but they are able to force here LJMU. So back to guns for both sides.
Oh, Dark Hero just about dodges that blind coming in from the opposing Omen and trying to fight in towards B. There's actually nothing there. There's just the Jet holding for a push, grabbing the orb and backing off. And PSZ, they have legged it. Walker, I don't know if you can read the map, but I can read the map, and there's nobody executing onto B. They are going to be... They're changing it up again. They're going back to B. They just walked up close to A, and then they've completely flipped their mind, come all the way back to B. And now, I'm assuming they're going to be heading in for some kind of a B execute. They've left 2 players towards A, so this might be the first real die-hard fake that we'll see coming out.
Yeah, the fake may not have completely worked. They're definitely luring people back towards that A site with the Sober drone. That's got them something, but Inkilo had to connect there. He doesn't, and that's going to be Kurzi finding free. The fake leads to nothing. Bruder gets Yokai, and it's just going to be Loki alive. He has to put his team on the back of him right here if he wants to try and get the lead finally on Ascent, but it's going to be a difficult task. He's got tagged by that Sober drone as well. Dot comes through, and he's just going to be pressured out, and he is eventually going to go down to Spark Plug.
Absolutely nothing to be done there, and yet another flawless from LJMU, and it's an impressive one to see from them. They obviously had a flawless pistol round as well, but to have a rifle round like that, where Kernsey just pops off, finds 3 straight away on the entry into, or when they're entering in towards B, and PSE not going to like that at all. Their economy is going to take a little bit of a hit. Obviously, they've chained 3 rounds together, so they have enough to buy this round, and most likely the next. But LJMU is starting to work towards the point where they might force PSE into some kind of an eco. And Also, if we just sort of take a look at what's going on the rest of the screen right now, it's a timeout. The last time we saw a timeout, PSC did an incredible job at securing round after round following that one. They definitely caught LGMU's number, and they worked out exactly how to counter it. Now we see it very early on in the game. They're just down 1 round, but PSC has called a timeout here to try and deal with what LGMU's up to on their defense.
Indeed, they are. It's been both of these teams back and forth. You know, momentum keeps flipping, and it's a smart timeout from PSC. They've definitely been the ones to opt to using it a lot more. You know, we haven't seen any from LGMU, obviously only the one from PSC, but that played into them, and it worked so well after they started to lose a little bit of momentum on that Breeze map choice from LGMU. But it's smart. You know, you need to utilize these pauses, get the momentum back, slow down the enemy team as well, and decide what you want to do. A nice jump peek is going to get them some information about where that chamber may be, but now they don't know.
Ooh.
Some nice bullets landed as well. They trade damage, and they are going to get this mid control completely for free here, PSC.
Inkyo sitting in that smoke. I don't know if Sparkplug saw the dash across, but Inkyo has found a lot of ground, and it's going to back off, but LJMU won't know that. There's no one close enough to have heard the audio cues, so they've got to be concerned about this mid control. And now they force the players out of market. LJMU, they are going to have an awkward time defending this B site as PSZ is running outside of B main.
They are indeed, but they haven't found that one person at Boathouse, and I don't know if they completely cleared it. Sparkplug is going to connect onto Inkilo, and I think they now finally know where Kanzi is. He does get the trade though at minimum. He's going to get that Sova. Hunter's Fury out. Sparkplug finding another. He's been so clinical with these Hunter's Furies, but it's so back and forth. 3 versus 2 now. 3 versus 1. Just gonna be Lukey alive for PSCs. He gets flashed into Boathouse, and it's very difficult for him.
Trying to fight on all 3 sides at once, but Bruno is the one to pick up that kill. The spike will get defused, and PSC, their timeout, not working so well for them there. I really liked what they tried to do there. They took that mid control, forced the LGMU mid player out and away from that market area, meaning that when they do decide to go into that B hit, they haven't got to worry about market. They're going to assume that that's clear. They can start clearing all the angles on the left, smoking off CT, investing their utility into just assaulting that B site. But it just didn't work out for them because LJMU was able to pull off a couple of nice kills, and then that Hunter's Fury from Sparkplug comes in clutch, denying that player towards the back of that B site, and that results in LJMU finding that round despite PSC's plans to the alternative. And now we see that Crazy has got that operator up, and PSC starting to have to worry about their economy. It's getting a little bit low as they try and look for some mid control here, with potentially their last rifle round in a row.
Indeed, we do. And I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the chamber for LJMU. They're kind of... Oh, they're back. Okay. I don't think they were fully aware that the round may have started. They were just kind of staring at a wall. Trip goes down late as well. I think that may not play into their favor. Bruder's going to get into this smoke, trying to close it out just a little bit, and they are going to get completely onto site. They are blinded, though. The spike isn't going to be able to go down just yet as they play the retake. And they are managing to get it down. Inkilo finds Sparkplug. Lukey finds Bruder. 3 versus 5 now in favor of PSZ. Darkiora goes down, and it makes it very difficult for the side of LJMU. They had such a nice bit of momentum built up. MK? MC? You okay, my dude? Nearly lands them shots, and they clean it up. There's a flawless from PSC.
It's kind of crazy, this game that we've seen already. Just 9 rounds. 3 of those have been flawless. 2 for LGMU. 1 for PSZ. It's not often you see so many in a single game Valorant, especially on rifle rounds as well, where both teams are playing with rifles and one team just dominates so hard. But yeah, that round difference lowered to just a measly 1 round, and this is shaping up to be maybe one of the, well, the most even map that we will see tonight. Both the previous ones were slightly one-sided. That last was 9-3, very one-sided, but here PSC making a little bit of comeback as well, pushing on in. Brother will get away.
Indeed he will, but Darkiora has not been cleared. He's still holding this site. Finally gets killed though by Inkilo. Bruder gets traded as well. PSC, the mountain to making it even once again. They just need to break that. That's the one aim I think they have for this half. Just go ahead at least once, and if you do it at this point especially, then they might be heading into the half with a slight lead in their favor. They are in position to at least tie it up. 4 versus 3, slowing it down, making it difficult for them to re-enter onto side. Because he finds 2, Emphasis does get 1 back, and it's now a 2 versus 1. Luki is going to be hiding under hell here. And can he find anything? He walks out onto side, gets caught by Crazy, and it's Kernsey to secure it up for his team and keep it at least an even half for LJMU.
Yeah, plenty of time on that clock as well. PSG, they had a really nice side take. They unfortunately weren't able to catch a couple of players that were caught unawares. They maybe could have had 2 picks if they managed to land the shots onto Bruder when they first started running in. But that kill onto Dark Yora looked like, you know, oh well, LGMU star fragger that so far in this series instantly knocked out. That's not a good sign, but somehow LGMU were able to come back off of that and secure a 6th round for themselves. Again, they looked very, very strong over in map 1, despite the close scoreline. Map 2, they sort of didn't seem to have the same level of play that we saw in that first one. As map 3, it's looking similar again to what we saw over on Haven as the pop comes out from PSG, and Dark Hero again down instantly.
Dark Hero does go down. A nice, aggressive play this time from PSG. They utilize these Omen smokes so well. Hero does get tanked up a little bit, and nice start to try and get him out, but he does get caught despite landing that cloudburst down just a little bit too late. It is numbers advantage for PSG, but they know exactly where Inkilo is. MCK makes it difficult. Same with Luki. It's just going to be 1 alive now. Sparkplug, the main man at the moment for LJMU. Can he find anything? He doesn't. And PSG, they can at least tie the half if they win this next one. They get 5 at least on their attack.
Yeah, it's just back and forth the last few rounds. They're here 1 for 1, 1 for 1. Both teams showing off their talent here on Ascent. And again, I think you can almost say already that this series is anyone's game. Both of them taking their opponent's map pick. And then here on the decider, both showing really good form so far in this first half. Now that could all change when we do swap on over, of course. Who knows how good PSG is going to be on that defense, or maybe LJMU on the attack will just crumble. The utility coming on in Kilo with the opener. PSG with a strong start.
Indeed. Crazy finally opting for that aggressive play that we saw on that first round, but doesn't work for him this time, and they get complete information on where Sparkplug is. But he does get that pick onto MC, and he gets another one onto Inkilo. Bruder finds 1 more as well. So they do get the advantage, at least LJMU, but it's difficult for them now. PSG, Luki goes down. It's just going to be Emphasis, and he goes down finally. And they go into the half in the lead, LJMU.
Switching sides.
It looks like, again, there's a couple of rounds there that LGMU have managed to lose Dark Yora, someone that was vital, especially in map 1, in delivering a lot of those key multi-frags that resulted in rounds. Now, keeps dying on those entries, but the rest of the team is making up for it. Kernsey especially, 13 for 7, almost, if you count KDA. That's more than 2 KDA for that individual. Certainly performing above and beyond what is expected for them here on Ascent. And that's what's been able to deliver them that small advantage on that defending side. 7 and 5 up, they finished that half. Now over on the attack. Let's see how well they can perform. Again, this map is do or die. Whoever takes this one takes the series and will progress on into the lower bracket finals.
Indeed they will. We have
got
got
a bit of a technical pause, yeah.
You took it out of my mouth there, Hannah. Yeah, we're
sorry.
gonna have a. It's all good, bro. We have a quick little tech pause. I think it's on the side of PSG, I believe. It's just one of them things, and they can use this time quite wisely. Both of these teams, you know, gives both of them the opportunity to kind of assess that half. You can go, well, we at least got 5 rounds on the offense. It's very close, very back and forth. So you can use that into your defense and into your offense for both of these sides to really assess how these teams are playing. You know, as you mentioned, Dark Yora not really performing to the heights that we'd seen on those past few maps. It's now Kernsey on that jet, doing it for the side of LJMU. And it seems to be one of his more favoured agents from what I've been able to see. He seems a lot more comfortable on this jet than previous agents like the Sky, and obviously that Viper in the previous game on Breeze. But Tech issues are fixed, and it looks like we are going to get underway. And it seems like a very aggressive A execute is the way that they want to hit this here, LJMU.
Oh, instantly. I think that blind has got both of them. Yeah, they're backing off. Both near side and had to completely give up that A main position. Of course, the pause has come out from LJMU. They're just completely freezing. They don't want to go through that smoke. And all of PSG has rotated over, just leaving that chamber towards middle. And the execute comes in.
I think the key part there was that knife coming through from the KO of PSC. That hit all 5 of them. So although they got that initial bit of space, they had no utility to enter onto site, which is so important when you don't find that initial pick. They do manage to get the plant down though, JMU, despite losing 1, despite losing 2. They're losing them as soon as I say the words here. I know, and they're cleaning it up now. PSC 2 versus 1. Now the 2 versus 1, make it a 1 versus 4. Cleans it up. That's going to be the defuse coming through. PSC very comfortable in this defense here.
Yeah, looking pretty nice as well, as they only lose the 1 player on that hit. LJMU they were prepared for very, very quick aggression. The smoke came on down towards A main, and they decided to pause behind it, unaware that they'd actually near-sided both the players playing on A. You'd had to completely back off, and yeah, that resulted in just that freeze from LJMU, which allowed PSG to completely rotate on over. LJMU executing into 4 players, a bit difficult.
We're going to head over to Carter. There's another tech pause. Not the end of the world. I think some issues again on the side of LJMU. Not a problem at all. But yeah, a nice bit of aggression there from LJMU. You know, at least showing that's the way they want to play this attack potentially, especially on these pistol rounds. Yeah. That is, I believe, the first pistol round they've actually lost as well. So the Kings have been dethroned on the pistol. Could that maybe potentially give them a little bit of revitalization? Or could it be the downfall for LJMU, Hannah? What was your initial thoughts? Just looking at that 1 round.
Maybe now it's their turn to perform the upset. We've seen PSG do it a couple of times where they win that 2nd round through some miraculous sheriff plays. Maybe it's LJMU's turn to show PSG that they can do it just as well as they can. So I'd be interested to see if they do decide to buy into a couple of sheriffs here, just to see if they can flip this round around. But again, they could play with the safe option. You know, they went into this half with a little bit of lead. They could give it up just to make sure that they get those rifles out, they get that economy going in good time, and don't lose that lead too early. Again, I think they went in 7-5, right? So PSG, it would pick up the pistol 7-6. They pick up the SMG round 7-7. And then we should see LJMU retake that lead with that bonus round. Realistically, should go their way. And then, you know, we're back to just a 1-round lead. Whereas it potentially, if they force up here, it could build up to be a lot more from PSG, as that buy would be a little bit delayed. We'll have to see which they choose. But LJMU, I think, should go with the safer option. Save here. Just look to see if you can get your rifles out round 3. Look as hot as possible in that rifle round. And just perform, because they've already shown us a really strong defense. The attacking side from them might be a little bit weaker, but there's not as many rounds to get right on this side. They just got to find 6 of the upcoming 12 rounds. I'm sure that they can do it. But PSG, they could do it as well. Both of them have been neck and neck so far during this series, seeing each other's map, and then here in map 3, it's been a close fight.
Yeah, really close, as always. It seems to be the narrative that we're always leaning into, Hanno. This one especially, you know, back and forth again and again, and you mentioned it perfectly. It all comes down to the smartness of the buy. But with that, PCs have been fixed, and we're going to head straight back into game and see whether Hanno's theory crafting really does come to light.
Oh, well, no, they've decided to force. They've got 4 marshals. Now, if you're going to force anything, this is what I like to see. Think of how much damage you do. Each shot basically knocks anyone on the other opposing team down to like 30, 40 HP. That's a level where even a pistol is super threatening to you. And you know, they bought all these Spectres, these rifles. They don't want to be in a position where they're on 20 HP and could die to a lightest touch of a classic.
Indeed, and I almost wanted to see Kilo get aggressive there on that B site. He was so far up through B main that he nearly could have found something. It just backs off, plays it smart, doesn't want to potentially lose out on that Vandal. He has gone with the Vandal and the heavy shield. So definitely going to be a lot of power for the side of a PSC, but playing it slow. LJMU got a lot of control up mid, but you almost don't want to play these close range fights. You've got marshals on the board. You don't want to be really close. You want to